Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of Hotline League. Episode 3 it's so big, we had to get a third guest or a third
Yeah,
host for
we will
Hotline
add
League.
one new guest every
Episode,
episode. By
yes.
episode 10, we will have 10 people on the
Yeah.
show.
The show's only getting bigger and better every week. And we've got by the way, he even figured out the color scheme for the show. It's great. We'll introduce him in just a second. But first off, I'm back. Apologies, it's been like 6 weeks since we've done one of these shows. Mark and I tried to do it during Worlds, just couldn't make it happen. Then both of us were busy. Finally have a chance to do it, and what a good time. So much stuff to talk about. How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing great, dude. I got really busy during Worlds. That all wrapped up. I've had like my week off, and I'm ready to talk about League of Legends.
Yeah.
I went to Joshua Tree with my family. That was fucking miserable. I hate outdoors. Let's get inside. Let's play with some neon lights, and let's talk League of Legends.
Okay. And then this week, we have an ancient ghost of the past of League of Legends esports, Kelby Bay. How's it going, Kelby?
I'm doing really great.
Do you want to introduce yourself for people that don't know who you are?
Yeah. So I used to run CLG back in the days, like first couple seasons of LCS. And then I went to EG, and we got acquired by Twitch. And then I ran EG for a while at Twitch. And now I do sponsorship sales at Twitch, where I work with EG Alliance, TL, TSM, and Team Liquid, and help them.
Isn't that a conflict of interest? That sounds like a conflict of interest.
What do you mean?
Well, let's bring some people on the show and figure out if it's conflict. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Okay. I got it. That was a good joke.
Thank you.
But yeah.
And so what? And why? And you wanted to do a show tonight. Originally, it wasn't going to be Hotline League, and then Mark wanted to do Hotline League, so we were able to merge it. But what in particular? Why now are you making your triumphant return to the League of Legends commentary scene?
Because I missed it after esports and chill died, and I'm also super excited that franchising happened, and now we get to talk about everybody that's in and what they're doing and what our expectations are for LCS now that it's bigger and better. And now like just the whole scene has changed since Overwatch League and LCS franchise.
Is there anything in particular you want to do for like the theme of the show? Because oftentimes we'll be like, we'll take call-ins for whatever, because obviously it's the off season. But is there like a particular thing you want to talk to like the general public about, or is it just like all open, anyone who calls in whatever they want to talk about?
See, I was just gonna say, I think we should go over. I think we should spend the first part of the show just going over the teams and the branding and providing our commentary on it, and if what we think works and what we think sucks. And then I think then we can start taking calls based off of that, and then we can sort of expand into other topics as well on the calls.
I want to get your guys' opinions on who's in the league too, and what you think about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, why don't we run through all 10 pretty quick then, because I definitely want to open the lines to the people.
Okay, all right. So let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to go ahead and push this live right now. So we have, for those that don't know, I'm sure everybody does now, the new LCS has officially been announced. All the teams have been unveiled, some of them to more acclaim than others. And so let's see, we've got TSM. We can't. Okay, production. We've got TSM, Golden
Are you
Guardians.
doing this?
Yes, Golden Guardians, Cloud9, FlyQuest.
What are you using to control this?
Echo Fox.
Is this like motion control? Dude, just fucking calm down.
It's all 100 Thieves, Team Liquid, Optic Gaming, CLG, and that's your 10, everybody. That's some high-level production right there.
Can we go one at a time and like pause on the logo?
So we've reviewed the 10. Let's take... No, I'm just kidding. Okay. So, yeah, how do you want to do this? You want to start off with at the top?
Yeah, if possible.
Okay. I don't think it should be too crazy for people to know that we had TSM get in. So, no big surprise there.
We're not talking roster stuff right now, right?
No.
Yeah. All right. So, TSM, they made it in. Are you shocked, Kelby?
No, I don't know, unless Mark has a wild opinion. I thought that TSM, C9, and CLG and Team Liquid, which may be surprising to some people, but I thought those teams were 100% locks going into franchising process. If I was Riot personally, for me, those teams are 100% locks.
For the most part, I completely agree. I mean, we can borderline skip over them just because any team that has been in the LCS since the very beginning, as well as before the LCS, and for the most part have been competitive teams, I think it was pretty likely they were going to make it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, those are the 4 most popular teams and the 4 teams with the most consistent results, except for Immortals, but we'll talk about them.
Okay, we'll
later.
talk about Golden Guardians. So this is the Golden State Warriors. For those of you that don't know, are a really big, I'm led to believe, a big basketball team. Mark, is this?
Yeah, they
shoot
won
some hoops.
They won some stuff. They have some superstars on it. They spend a lot of money. All good things.
Yeah. Well, so get here. One of the big things that everybody talked about is that they try to like buy success and they spend huge dollars. And so like there's been a lot of chatter about this on the for the basketball team. But for fans that aren't, or people that don't know about the NBA, maybe you can help sort of explain context for that.
I mean, so basketball is weird because there is a salary cap, but you can basically choose to ignore it. What happens is you get into what is called the luxury tax range, and you just pay literally double on your contracts, basically.
That's same for baseball, right?
No, baseball doesn't have a salary cap.
They just have whatever. I think they're just completely open.
Really?
But
I thought baseball used to
They have some
cap.
limiting system, but I don't think it's. I looked this up recently, but it's not like an official salary cap.
yeah, and there's a couple other rules for like exactly who you can get and how and when based off this. But for the most part, if you draft a couple good players like they did with Steph Curry, and I think they drafted Klay Thompson or they got him right away, and those guys developed into really good players, and then they dropped the fatty of signing Kevin Durant, and that's when they became like God mode. But they had already drafted pretty well and were like on the come up, and then they just kind of exploded with getting the largest free name agent.
I'm being corrected, by the way. Baseball does have luxury tax and caps. So
Your
I don't
boy
follow
knows.
baseball. It's boring.
yeah, shout out to Twitch chat for correcting. So anyway, these guys have spent a lot of money to get a lot of talent for their basketball team.
They were on the right track beforehand. All right. The most important thing to talk about here is that logo. All right. I like it. It's been a little controversial. I like it.
Has it been controversial? I feel like it was interesting because it almost felt strategic the way that the Golden Guardian stuff got leaked and announced, because I think a lot of people didn't like Clutch City or 100 Thieves, and then Golden Guardians came out and everyone's like, oh, that's not that bad. Which, by the way, in terms of, I feel like if you can launch a name in a brand and people say, oh, that's not that bad, like, you have succeeded. Because
That's a win. Yeah.
No one is ever going to be super hype.
Anything that's not outright hate is good.
Yeah. Do you guys think that Riot blocked them from using the initials GG? Because I can't imagine why you would use GGS.
Hmm.
I didn't know they were.
I don't know.
Because I assume, like, I just assumed they would use GG, and I assume Riot was like, no, you can't use it.
Yeah, I feel like GG's probably preferred.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand Riot choosing to block it too. Like, GG is literally something the casters say when a game is over.
Yeah.
So it would be weird to be like, I'm calling myself the home run.
Yeah.
And you're like, you can't call your fucking selves the home run.
Yeah. I wish that they could have used it, because I actually think that would have been...
It would have been better, for sure.
Yeah. So, Kelby, how do you like the logo?
I like the logo. It's not like something that is super amazing to me, but it's fine, and I like the name as well.
Yeah. And the logo is cool because this is kind of similar to the Warriors logo, right, Mark?
Yeah, it's the same color scheme. A reference to the bridge a little bit here. You can kind of see it. Kind of also looks like a spaceship. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a nice marrying.
It's
of
like
the two.
a Protoss sword, I think.
I thought they also did really good with their announcement.
It's a sword, not a spaceship. What the hell?
Their announcement?
Yeah, they didn't tweet anything the opening day. They didn't tweet anything until day 2.
Yeah.
I actually agree. I like that because everyone like put everything out at the same time, and it's like there's only so much time in the day.
Yeah.
You know.
I was being sarcastic. I was making fun of them for dropping the ball on that.
Oh, I actually like it, dude. Fuck you. There were so many announcements. I was just like, I'm not even gonna read half these. Dude.
Exactly.
No, for sure. I read them all in anticipation of this conversation.
So okay, so Golden, yeah, in anticipation of this. So I thought, pretty good. I don't know if we have anything else to say about them, but I think it's exciting to have them in the league, and I'm really interested to see what they do, because my understanding is they are not just like a successful team on the court, but they are pretty successful from a business perspective as well. And they've done a really good job like monetizing in the NBA and all that kind of stuff. So I'm hopeful. Like I keep saying this in all these vlogs. Like the LCS now needs to actually fucking try to be a successful business over the next couple of years, and I'm hopeful that these companies are gonna help make that shit happen. Rev share.
We'll talk about that when we talk about rosters.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sure it'll come up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's quickly go through the rest of these so that we can start taking calls. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll start going quicker. So C9 we don't need to talk about. FlyQuest.
Sure. Oh boy.
I like this rebrand. Closer to the Milwaukee Bucks color scheme. Also doesn't look like a fucking Pokemon, so that's a huge step up.
Yeah, I like the logo a little bit more too, but it feels like something from Toy Story. Like Buzz Lightyear status.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I think it's better because they were the worst logo in the league before, but I mean, FlyQuest was the team to me, and Travis, because we talked about this all the time, FlyQuest was the team to me that there is no way that they make it in through franchising. I was like, it's impossible, dude. And somehow they did it. So I would love to be a fly on the wall during the conversations for application, because they just didn't show anything to me as far as like if I was an org that was already in the LCS and already had my VC group, in my mind that is the group that gets most heavily scrutinized by Riot going through the application process, because like for existing teams that are already in the league and have established like popularity and results, that, or hope certainly, that with outside money it will allow them to take the success that they've already found and multiply it a couple levels, like CLG, C9, Team Liquid, and TSM probably gets VC in the future as well. For the orgs that are already in, like Dignitas, who already had 76ers backing, and Envious, who already had backing, and FlyQuest, like those guys, you already have the money infusion that you're going to expect. So there's a lot of onus for me personally in evaluating those teams and saying like, hey, you have the resources now, like you need to show me what you're going to do. And they didn't do anything for me. So like they had horrible branding. They didn't put up results. I didn't see them making an effort. And I don't know.
Yeah, well, and by the way, that is, if you look, like everybody has these little like lines underneath them, like we'll scroll up. Cloud9's is like, entered the NALCS with a bang in 2013 and have been winning ever since.
Yeah.
FlyQuest is literally like coming back stronger with a dedication to long-term growth. Yeah. And if you read the scene, or if you read their description, it's like FlyQuest are also focused on becoming the most fan-centric teams, etc. It's just very funny because like their whole description is basically like, I tweeted this, is like FlyQuest now actually giving a shit in 2017.
So, to play a little bit of the worst devil's advocate you've ever met, you talked about Dignitas, you talked about P1, and those guys tried, but they failed. FlyQuest didn't even try. So maybe now they're going to try and actually do a good job.
Yeah.
Maybe that little pamphlet they put together, Liquid had that microsite that kind of went through when it went into the application. Mm-hmm. Maybe they just built the craziest, best application you've ever seen.
Yeah. I saw TL's application. TL's application blew me away.
Well, I think they posted something about it today. I retweeted it.
They have a microsite you can go to. I don't know what the fuck a microsite is, but that's what they call it.
It's like a dedicated site.
Yeah.
So a website.
Yeah.
FlyQuest then like opening announcement video too was just like, I don't know, it didn't sit well with me, dude. Like Turtle at the end with the half turn, like, are you ready? Or you? No, it's just are you? Because they went through the whole like Black and Olleh monologue, and I was just like, man, this is who was the team? Oh, Excelsior in Overwatch. Yeah, it hit me. It hit me
Yeah.
like Excelsior's video hit me, dude. But I don't know. We'll see.
I
FlyQuest, this
mean,
is your shot, dude.
I'm
watching you.
just super fascinated to know how those conversations went because
Yeah.
because FlyQuest would have been near the bottom, right? And I'm not saying I don't want people to think that I'm saying this maliciously. Like FlyQuest was like a shit org. I think they were just like a neutral org. Like they just, And so I'm super fascinated to know how that conversation went, and I just love that their messaging, like Riot and their messaging, they decided on like, and now we're focused on the long term. Like we're as if before like we were focused on the short term.
Nothing.
I don't. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
I don't. It's just so funny.
What I'll say, just to wrap it up, we're not being
Yeah.
mean on FlyQuest, but just like literally, High said they didn't have any analysts, and then their analyst tweeted, "What? Hello, I help you guys out all the time." So
Yeah.
if you want to wonder how that team was structured, there's that little storyline.
Echo Fox made it in. I assume I've said this before. I think Echo Fox made it in December 2016 when they did not sign a LCS Forever document.
Yeah.
It's like, this is our application, right? We're not
Yeah.
even submitting anything, specifically not our signature on the bottom of this LCS Forever document.
Right.
The other thing they did, which was something that didn't get that much news when it happened, but they finally included it in the bottom thing, was that they got extra funding from somebody. I can't remember who. It's at the bottom of the little blurb there.
The Yankees.
Yeah, the Yankees, which people thought Rick Fox owns this team, but they actually I think sold a lot of the company off.
Yeah, they were always like a big VC thing.
Yeah, they gave away a lot of control a while ago. So yeah. I'm just glad that more people will see that now and not just be like, yeah, Rick Fox owns the team.
Okay, Clutch Gaming. I like the logo, actually.
Best new logo, hands down.
You think so?
Really?
I like the Guardians logo more, but I love the idea of seeing us on a hat. Like,
man,
this
you
is
guys
like,
are gonna hate my.
This is a hat logo.
Oh shit! So I'll say I like it because one, the CG works in there. They tied in the Houston Star. It's simple. I like that. But it's still a step up from just the FlyQuest one, where it's just like, let's put our letters together.
And dropping city is really good because like everything about their brand now makes it so that you can leverage like the Houston identity to the people that it'll relate to, but like it's like it stands on its own. Like the I didn't even know. I guess that's the star. Is it a Texas Star or is it a Houston Star? It's Texas. Right?
I think it's a Texas Star, but specific like
either
other
way,
Texas
like
cities use different stuff.
Even if you saw that, somebody who's in Germany and has never been familiar with like that identity is gonna actually think it could be cool to that person. So, so these guys are the Houston Rockets. It's super interesting. So for those that don't know, behind the scenes, like these guys Houston Rockets hired a guy to help them figure out their esports plans like a year ago, or maybe even more. Like they did the long-term bet on this thing. And so it's actually kind of impressive to see, and I'm very fascinated to see how that team performs and on what they unveil whenever LCS comes, because they've basically had like forever to build. Like, think about it this way: they have been working on their LCS team for as long as FlyQuest has been. So I'm super.
They got Chakarez in there, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
I'm tweeting about that.
Yeah. So I'm hype on those guys, and like their whole thing. The Rockets, I think, are really big on, hey, like we use data and analytics to help us succeed, and so it's kind of cool that they, in their description here, seem to be pulling that back in. I don't know if we have anything else to talk about with Clutch, but that's cool.
Nope.
Okay, now here's my
Kelby, is this your favorite? Because you said we're not going to like your answer.
100 Thieves.
Yeah, it is my favorite of the new branding.
Oh my god!
Edgy take, dude. Careful.
I have never ever. Wait. If I ever work with Kelby, he's never in charge of the brand. Like, this is my takeaway.
Have you guys seen the like tip style version that they did of it too?
Where it says just 100T or whatever.
Yeah. I like the 100T one.
100T looks okay.
So on the Clutch City one, like I think the Clutch City one looks really good as they have it right there, all stylized and with the CG and particle effects. But like flat on the on the page, I don't like it as much. I think that the 100T stylized, especially, I don't know. It's just
You know what
it's
it is? I'm realizing
But
this is
I
like
do like
because Kelby, for those that don't know, was like a MySpace scenester kid forever ago, and I feel like this is what. And this all makes sense now because everything I hate about 100 Thieves is like everything I would have hated about Kelby. All right, like back in the day, like this is like some kid wearing this on the back of a black hoodie while wearing tight jeans walking down the road. Like, and you know what?
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of people like that are fans of the LCS. So maybe that's who they'll.
What I will say is at least like the name 100 Thieves doesn't come out of nowhere. It wasn't like they were just like, this is a cool name. Like it was.
But too, it kind of does to the League fans. Like I don't fucking know what the hell 100 Thieves is. Like.
Yeah, but they're trying to at least like tie it in with Nadeshot's thing, which is, I mean, you could just come up with a better brand. You know, I'm not saying you couldn't do that, but it's not like they just came up with this like this is what people are gonna love. Like at least it's not that bad.
I guess.
In that way.
I guess.
I'm trying to get a lot of.
I hate the 100 Thieves name, by the way. I hate the 100 Thieves name. Like,
do you hate it worse than the name FlyQuest?
Well, so I think
that's a great question.
I think what FlyQuest proves is that in a year from now, I will hopefully not give a shit about the 100 Thieves name, and it'll just be whatever because I've heard it.
Sure.
But like, I just hate like the 100 thing. Like, I almost kind of like FlyQuest more because it's literally just like whatever, just two words. FlyQuest, like fly is like an aspirational word, and quest is an aspirational word. Yeah, they kind of feel funky next to each other, but 100 Thieves is just like, yeah, there's 100 of us. We're the thieves, and there's 100.
There's only room for 100 fans on this bandwagon, boys.
And also, there's like
getting quick.
No, I think you're a fan of the 100 of the thieves.
It's like, and they're gonna be on stage.
There's 100 players on the roster.
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna be on stage. It's gonna be like, where's the other 995?
Support other game divisions.
Yeah,
like Thieves would have just been a better. The Thieves sounds stupid.
You can't just do Thieves. Yeah,
Thieves Gaming or something like that is better than 100 Thieves. Like, and I'm worried because I've been shitting on 100 Thieves a lot, and I've never met Nadeshot in my life. I have no formal business relationship with these guys. I've probably already got myself blacklisted, but I'm just
don't worry. He's got like 3 million YouTube subs. You'll be fine.
If they learn anything, learn from Steve and just fucking meme your name. All right, don't try and be like, no, it's really cool because these reasons. Just be like, yeah, we're the 100 Thieves.
Yeah, and
just figure out some way to joke about it.
Speaking of joking about it, the Team Liquid tagline is one of the original brands of esports leading the way with pro development. I love this just because of that stat about how many people have been on Team Liquid previously and then are now on other teams. It's like, yeah, Team Liquid, the development house for pro players. That's where they go and they develop and then they go on to other teams.
It's like there are more humans alive on Earth today than in all of history. It's like there's more players on TL right now than they've ever had before.
Yeah.
So on TL getting in really quick, if I had to pick only one team to make LCS franchising, it would actually be really close for me between TL and TSM. And I think for a lot of people that's really weird, but I personally believe that TL does, like, their results have not been obviously nearly what TSM C9 or even Immortals have been, but I think that they do things the right way in regards to like thinking about things, infrastructure development, which I think will bear out to be really, really important long term. Like a lot of the orgs I expect now, especially with franchising locked in, to do a lot more building out of their infrastructure. Like when you look at TL as an organization and the staff that they have on hand and what is, in my mind, ideal to support an organization, they're doing things the right way, especially in regards to account managers, fucking coaching staff, content development, like their content team, their announcement video, so good. I personally like their
Magic
announcement
Johnson
video
in there
a lot. Yeah, and the I'd like they leaning into the, like, you know, the whole paid by Steve meme, which I think is really good, and the other, like, you know, fun video that they did. I think that TL has a lot of things right in regards to philosophical approach, and some of the executional stuff they'll figure out along the way. They have in other games, and I think it'll bear across the League of Legends, and I think we're already seeing some of it with some of the roster stuff that's going on. So
what I'll say is, like, no team's great forever. Like the Lakers, you know, they had periods where they sucked, but they always turned around for the most part. So I don't think like a 2-year slump in the grand scheme, when you look at like how sports really play out, is that bad.
Yeah.
And I think they like when you say their staff has been good. I don't think you're talking about specifically coaching staff, which is I think where people's like thoughts on it end when you say staff, but like
Yeah.
upper level management of the company is really, really good.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, go ahead.
No, go.
I was
This
going
is
to say, let's move on to Optic.
Yeah.
So, again, a well-known brand. Anybody
Yeah.
want to take... Kelby, you know all the other esports teams, like you should go through the Optic.
I don't know
Yeah,
what
yeah.
Optic is at all. They don't have a league team.
Yeah. I mean, Travis, you know from our earlier conversations that I was saying that Optic was the team outside of the existing, like, teams already in LCS, that it's already an established esports team that I was hoping would get in the most.
Yeah. I did not expect them to... Like, I was surprised that they took a established esports team over another traditional sports team. Like, I would have expected... Like, I'm not saying it's a wrong thing,
Right.
but given Riot's goals and stuff, I was surprised that they brought in another endemic esports org.
They do such a good job outside, like in all the games that they participate in. Obviously, especially like the console titles, which is their real strength, because I think it's the space that, you know, when you have success in one, you can lean naturally to another. But they do content right. It's how they have such an engaged and diehard fan base. They do merchandising well, and I have really been looking for that in the League of Legends space more. And that's why, you know, like I said, I really like Legends. I really like what Team Liquid does around the content of all, you know, their different game divisions, and I think that Optic comes in and helps apply that pressure to other organizations to do that in this space as well, and I'm sure they'll be really good at it.
Yeah.
I think that results are... So let's look at NALCS holistically a little bit right now. The strength of the league has always been its popularity. Obviously not results at Worlds, and I don't expect results at Worlds to change anytime soon, to be honest. But viewership for LCS has not been doing as well as it had been. It's been going down over the past 2 years, and I think that these guys coming in, helping hopefully create a good squad, build good narrative, and providing more guidelines for other teams in the league to do the same will be really, really good. And so I'm excited to see them in the LCS.
I heard they're only going to use champions with guns. So I'm actually really, really excited to see them.
Because but I mean, Kelby, you didn't explain. These guys are a first-person shooter, like console org, right?
Yeah. They started in Call of Duty. That's where Nadeshot started.
Yeah.
Nadeshot and Hector really built that brand.
And now like Nadeshot doing 100 Thieves and Optic doing it, yeah.
So I think that, like, if you look at their YouTube following and their Twitter following, like, they just shit on every existing LCS team. Like, it's not even close. They completely blow everyone out of the water. So yeah, I think that'll be really good.
Yeah. All right, and then the final team, and I think right after this we'll go into questions. Actually, here, let me go ahead and put the Discord info up so that people can join.
Let me explain it to you real quick.
Yeah.
So the way this works, guys, is go join that Discord. I hope I still have it copy and pasted. It's also going to be in chat in a second here. And what you do once you join the Discord is get into the general voice channel, not just the text channel, but the voice channel. So I'll be able to drag you into our waiting room. I will select people based off what you tell me that you want to talk about in the actual general chat. So we'll just say, you know, type what you want to talk about. If it looks interesting, I'll drag you into the waiting room. I'll make sure your mic and everything's working, and then we'll get you on air soon after that. So, you know, if you haven't yet, join the Discord, join the general chat, and then we'll prompt you guys when to type in your questions when we're looking for new people.
And the questions, I think, will be, maybe we can block out the show. We should have talked about this beforehand, but maybe we can block out the show. So we'll take some questions about the franchise stuff, and we'll talk about that for a while, and maybe 15, 20 minutes, and then we can come back and talk about roster change rumors.
I think roster changes, we'll see what Twitch chat says, but I have a feeling that's what a lot of Twitch chat is interested in.
Yeah.
So maybe we put a little bit more time into that. We'll see.
Okay. Well, either way, I figure breaking out the shows. So first we're talking about the team stuff, and then later on we're going, like, because I'm sure all of us are going to want to talk about the roster change rumors before we even get into the questions. So either way,
Yeah, we'll do a couple team stuff first.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, so let's go ahead and pull the Discord stuff down. The final, while everybody's going in. Oh, and the other thing I'll say is that we try to get subs in, just out of respect for the people who sub, but no promises. And I think there is a way to link Twitch subs to Discord. I need to figure out how to do that, and then in the future it'll be even better. Either way, so Counter Logic Gaming, the last team to make it in. This is a joke. These guys don't deserve to be here. Get them the fuck out of LCS.
Well,
I've never had a good person running them.
I heard Nick Allen rejoin
What?
them.
Excuse me?
Yeah, exactly,
So if there's any
Kelby.
reason to not let them in, it's that Nick Allen is back
Yeah,
in the league scene.
exactly. Nick Allen and Kelby.
I would have rejected their application on that basis alone.
In my mind, CLG has always had amazing leadership.
Nick Allen in the chat, just going ...
And they're just continuing the legacy of great leadership now.
I think maybe their most recent person is their greatest mistake. Either that or the person that they had in like 2014, 2015. But yeah.
The guy who
I was
screwed
gone
them.
by 2015.
Were you? Has it been that long?
I left late 2014. September 2014.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Because I was there 2012 through 2014.
Yeah. Thank you, Nemsic, for the sub.
3 years of Amazon stock, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. There we go.
I'm going to go hop into the waiting room because it sounds like we don't have
Yeah.
too much to say about CLG.
Sure.
All
Do
right.
we want to talk about Immortals at all?
I guess maybe before.
Yeah, let's do that. So Immortals did not make it in. I think, no. First off, do we all agree? Not too surprising. Phoenix One, Envy, and Dig did not make it in.
I think there was a line that we were all wondering where Riot would land on, because I think some of us were in the camp that there's going to be almost no new teams, and then some of us said there's only going to be the large existing brands, and it was just a question of where in that scale they were going to land. Obviously, they ended up more on the large existing team side, and that's why those other three teams, once you realize that they're not accepting people like that, that all of them don't make it in.
Smithy in the Twitch chat right now saying "rip."
Pour some out for Immortals.
Yeah.
I actually already spilled water on my floor, so I don't care that I'm doing that again.
Wow.
Dig was my number 2 team behind FlyQuest that I thought should not make it in.
Yeah.
Because they had been in the league since the start and done nothing over that period of time and already had VC. They didn't have results. They didn't have popularity. They didn't get any viewership on their games. They hadn't done anything with their money. I'm like, you had your chance, dude. I'm sorry. It's hard to make that argument for me. I thought Immortals, Travis, I was very surprised to see them not make it in. And even more than FlyQuest saving themselves, I'd be like, how did this get messed up? Because you come into, since C9, I think they've been the most successful team entering the league. It's really hard to enter LCS and just be like, oh yeah, we're going to start winning right away like C9 did. Immortals did that without getting just a great roster right off the bat. They kind of built it, and they won more regular season games in the time they were in the league than anybody else. And they I thought they did a good job with branding and content, and not anything that personally blew me away, but of the orgs coming into the league, showing that you can do a good job, I was like, damn, these guys are super solid, dude. So there must have just been, and Travis, I thought your video was really good. There's something that happened in the diligence that goes on behind the scenes that must have been, I can only imagine, related to business philosophy, practices, blah blah blah.
Yeah. That's clearly because they're in Overwatch League, Kelby.
Yeah.
It's not. It's obviously not. It's obviously not, because there's other teams. And I mean, I know you're being sarcastic, but for people who are serious when they say that, there's other teams in Overwatch League and LCS. It's got to be, and it's not necessarily. I'm not necessarily.
But they have the LA one, Kelby.
Yeah.
They have the LA one.
That was stupid.
I'm sorry. Keep going on.
Yeah. But I think that there's probably just a difference in business philosophy. If I had to, make a guess, which I gotta say I don't necessarily know that this is anything near the truth. If I were Riot, one of the things that would be a super big signal to me would be what is your ability to attract large brands from a sponsorship side into this scene to help grow it? Optic, some of these teams that have come in, either through their NBA connections or already, like Optic has done a super good job attracting non-endemics to their brand. And Immortals, for their time and success in the LCS, like they had results and they did good content. They, if you look at them on the sponsorship front, are pretty weak, really. And I don't know, maybe Riot was not convinced in that matter, and that was important to them.
Yeah.
But that's just me, like,
Well,
completely throwing.
either way,
out.
happy to take calls from anybody about if you have an opinion about one of the brands. If you think we're wrong and you want to make an argument about Dig or Envy or Phoenix One needing to be in, if you think it's atrocious about IMT and you want to talk about that, feel free to join. Going to put the stuff up there. Mark is going to hop down and grab our first person right now.
Yeah, I got our first one waiting. He wants to talk about why 100 Thieves is not the worst, I believe. Also,
Okay.
Steve Liquid 112.
Are we sure that's
Team
him?
Liquid. Yeah, it's him. He tweeted us. I'm pretty sure that's him. So I don't know how highly we want to prioritize celebrities. I think this is a show for the common person.
Yeah. Well, let's
So
bring.
maybe
Let's
put him second, right?
Yeah, here, yeah. Let's put him second, and also make sure Steve do we know what Steve wants to do, or is he just gonna come on and be like, "Hi"?
I'm sure Steve can afford our appearance fee.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Steve is so generous in the Discord. He says he can go first. What
Man
a
of-
nice, what a nice person. All right, so Mark, hop down there. While Mark is figuring stuff out, I'll just give a shout out to some people who sub because it's really nice of them. Zodiac Sheep, Fourth Colin, Kiwi Mullet Boy, Ichirio, Nimsik. There's a couple others, but for some reason my stream.
You guys ready?
Popping up. Yes. Yeah. Let's do it. Who do we got?
So we have Matei, I believe, joining us. Matei, where are you from? Who are you? And what do you want to talk about?
I'm from good old North America.
Very
Tennessee.
broad.
Yeah,
Nice.
Just shitty old Memphis, Tennessee. I just want to touch on specifically GGS and 100 Thieves because I feel like the League of Legends community, just from what I've been reading on Always Bright Reddit and Twitter, I've seen a lot of hate for Nadeshot specifically and the 100 Thieves name and brand compared to almost none for GGS. Well, I think part of the problem is GGS has absolutely done dog shit. They tweeted out a day late, and that's it. And their merch has to be some of the worst merch I've ever seen.
Really? What don't you like about their merch?
Can you?
There's-
I'll look up a link for you, Travis. Hold on, let me find it.
Okay.
Dude, this first caller is lit. Matei. Are we pronouncing your name correctly?
Mate,
Okay.
it doesn't matter, man.
Okay.
So are you more defending Nadeshot and 100 Thieves, or are you more dissing on GGS?
It's a combination of both. Man.
Okay.
I don't know. It's it's more the problem I have is I can understand if people would say I don't think some of these things about 100 Thieves are all right. If I saw as much of an uproar over GGS because everyone is just completely silent on how bad they have entered so far when they're the Golden State Warriors. They're former NBA champions. They should be coming in hot.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's just cold, man. I think the biggest problem with me is just their merch. It has to be just awful. It's literally their logo on a blue background. And
Matei,
Wait, are we making fun of Golden or Clutch?
Golden.
golden.
He doesn't like golden.
Oh, I thought we were making fun of the Clutch guys. My bad.
Okay.
Matei, can I ask some contextual questions that'll lead into some other stuff?
Okay, go for it.
Who are you an LCS fan of right now? What teams do you like?
Probably I find myself a big fan of CLG, really.
Yeah.
It's just their brand feels very authentic sometimes compared to, I guess FlyQuest where it just feels like money thrown together.
Are you a diehard CLG fan, or are you kind of a general league fan and CLG is the team you like most?
Yeah, just general league fan. I just appreciate players performing well. It's pretty much
Okay. What generally attracts you to one team versus another that you're hoping to see from these new entrants? Like you said that CLG authenticity from the brand feels like something that you personally like.
I mean, not to sound like a head of Riot, but like some good content finally being made.
Mm-hmm.
And some good merch like that. I would appreciate that. Like I understand they're gonna have roster problems the first the first split or two, so I'm just really looking at it like they hit the ground running with content and merch. Like that'll be cool. I'll be a fan of their team if they can do that.
What do you not see from content and merch right now that you wish teams would do, or do you not know what it is? You just don't like what exists.
Specifically like merch, like actual good merch. If you look at 100 Thieves merch in particularly, it is like it's stylish, it's fashion, like it's something you would wear out. Whereas like this Golden State Warriors stuff, I'm not gonna wear this out. Like what do I?
Yeah, it's
like,
interesting.
Dude,
so
Matei is my boy, dude.
I suspected that the Golden Guardians merch was based off of Golden State Warriors merch, but so then I clicked over the Golden State Warriors merch and. I feel like all the Golden State Warriors stuff is way cooler, which probably, it makes sense because obviously they've probably got like a giant merch team and they've been iterating on this stuff a ton. But like, it is interesting that they didn't just take some of the similar designs. Maybe they were afraid to, or they just don't want to mix it up too much. But I will say the Golden State Warriors stuff seems more expensive than Golden Guardians, so you're getting a discounted rate.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I guess it could be kind of stereotypical to say it, but I mean, basketball has always been like toe-to-toe with fashion, sneakers and basketball. It's always been a big thing. So, especially for a basketball team to come in and just have such terrible merch, I was surprised.
Okay,
well,
but
I mean, that's the thing. Gamers are known for their fashion, for
so
sure.
I'm going to challenge you here, though. Yeah, I'm going to challenge you here, though, because you are defending 100 Thieves a lot, and while it is true that 100 Thieves did put out a video. Their video was just like, and this tilted me. I didn't talk about it too much, but it was just Nadeshot being a YouTuber. What up, guys? Nadeshot, bunch of jump cuts. My team's coming back. It said like big announcement in capital letters of the thing. Like it's literally just like, hey, this YouTuber, and they're the Cavs, right? Like you could make a similar argument there about what's going on there. Obviously, they'd have a video come out or whatever, but like I just feel like. I was disappointed that their announcement video was just Nadeshot being a YouTuber.
I can kind of understand the desire of coming in as like, or authentically, quote unquote, to like this, like your scene, because like if Nadeshot's your big brand, he's the guy you're bringing on to instantly have fans. You probably don't want to make him do something that's not up his alley. So in that way, I can kind of understand being like, yo, you're Nadeshot, you have a huge following, you know what your fans like. Go announce that you're a part of this thing however you think is best.
Well, I think they could. So even if they had just done, and I want to get Matei's thoughts on this too. I don't want, all of us can end up talking about this forever, I'm sure. But even if they had just done, like, I'm okay with Nadeshot putting that out on his YouTube channel. But I feel like that shouldn't have been the only thing that they did, right? Like, if you're going to criticize GSW for not doing something cool with the GG announcement, like, I feel like you have to criticize the Cavs for only doing this YouTube. But what do you think, Matei?
Yeah, okay, so Golden State put out like a 20-second After Effects video of their logo, right?
It's not great, yeah.
I don't even consider, whereas, like, I feel like since obviously we're like really into the scene, we saw Nadeshot's video. But if you look at like 100 Thieves, their Twitter in particularly, they didn't even like retweet the Nadeshot video. It feels like, for me, if I'm looking at them as like a brand, I feel like their first video as a brand is just the Prawley video, where he announces that he's the coach and he's building the roster. Like I think Nadeshot's video, the way I look at it, which is of course personal, is just like that's his YouTube channel video where he's explaining what he's been doing for the past 6 months to his fans and like what he's trying to do with the team. Like I don't really view it as like the team's video.
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying?
I kind of disagree just because it came out the exact day that all this was announced. It was clearly kind of planned
like in the moment.
Yeah. This wasn't like a, hey, you can make this video to coincide with our announcement. This is like the only thing that they put out that day, right?
Basically, well, they put out the Prawley video.
The Prawley video, I guess. Sure.
Yeah, I would play the Nadeshot video on stream, but after all that Night Blue stuff, I don't want to get caught up in the takedown. Either way, Matei, thanks for coming on. I want to churn through a couple different people here, but thank you that's a good point. Good criticism. We didn't maybe criticize GG as much as we should. possibly because I used to work with the guy running it now, so I'm a little blindsided by that. But either way, yeah, thanks for the call.
All right, see you guys.
Thanks, Matei.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go get Steve Liquid112 Arhancet.
Okay.
The most for the fans man out there.
Yeah,
He memes. He goes on shitty talk shows when all the other owners are too busy running their companies.
Go
or
get him,
something.
Mark. I don't care. Go get him. By the way, thanks to Conjo for the sub. Appreciate it. Making sure that Liquid's got his stuff together as we pull him into the chat. How you doing, Kelby?
I'm doing great.
I think.
About to talk to my boy, Steve.
Okay, here we go.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we've got Liquid112 on the show. Liquid112, where are you calling from, and what do you want to talk about?
I'm calling from LA, as you know.
Okay.
And, I mean, I'm down to answer whatever questions you guys want to talk about.
Wait,
Perfect.
you're supposed to bring a topic
Perfect.
on. Yeah. What? 80 question? Okay. Well,
I mean, I can reserve the.
How much did Impact cost? Is it true it's $1 million?
$1 million is nothing. Come on.
oh wow. Okay, there we go.
Jesus. All right. How did you get him to turn down SKT? That's the real question, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know if that rumor is true.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Got a
okay.
great roster.
Yeah, I mean, so do you? Well, let's talk about. Maybe we'll ask general questions because I'm sure
Can I
you
ask
have
a
your own
question?
answers. Yeah, go for it.
So, Steve, how nervous were you, or not nervous were you, going into the application process? Do you think, like, all the teams that I mentioned before, like C9, TSM, CLG, Team Liquid, they were all like, yeah, we got this, we know what Riot wants, or going in were you like, oh, shit, dude, I don't know?
Yeah, I mean, to be super honest, I was extremely nervous because we had such a crap season in 2017, and I had thought that Riot might put an emphasis on recent performance, and everybody always remembers what the last taste in their mouth was, right?
Yeah.
And that ends up being the opinion of the current moment. And for me, I was like, this is the most important moment in esports history, and we just shit the bed in the season. So
Yeah.
I took it extremely seriously. We, as you know, put together a pretty awesome application and video, and I kind of went all out. I arranged all the proper financing so that we could have the right kind of resources going into 2018.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Travis, did you boost this?
Yeah, I
mic, by the
boosted
way?
this. It's all the way up, so we'll see. Mike, if you or Steve, if you can be a little closer to the mic, that would be good too.
Okay.
So let's talk about. Yeah, that's much better. Let's hear. How is the roster stuff coming along? I know you probably can't tell us who's on the roster or confirm any of the rumors out there, but how is the process? What's it like behind the scenes? Is it hectic? You know, any of that stuff that you can give us as an update as we eagerly await the unveiling of your lineup.
Yeah. Well, this offseason has been insane. I think more competitive than any other offseason I've interacted with in the last 5 years. I think that was likely due to the timing of all the new organizations coming into LCS, the transfer window deadline, and then free agency happening kind of back to back to back. So it was extremely competitive, but it was actually surprising. I won't name any names, but there were definitely a few orgs that didn't know what the fuck they were doing. You know, like they're like still trying to figure out how to hook up internet at their gaming house, and there's you know, so it's interesting. It's just, you know, and I don't fault them for that. You know, they're coming into the org, they're still getting things ready, and they're just going to need some time to ramp up. But yeah, it was across the board. You know, it's been insanely competitive. I've been busting my ass on the phone for the last month, working everything out.
So you keep saying "was," which implies that like the transfer, you know, all that stuff is done. Yeah, like so it sounds like you're feeling pretty confident in what you've got going.
Yeah.
Transitioning a little bit off that, Travis and I put out 2 videos on separate sides of the idea of salary caps in the league, and Travis was for them. I was for them, but much more hesitant in the sense that like I wanted to wait a while before we started trying to do that. And then you supposedly, through rumors, of course, have been acquiring a lot of players, like far more than you can obviously field. And some people are concerned that you're going to try and hoard a bunch of contracts and then sell them off for more. I want to give you a chance to potentially get ahead of that rumor, or maybe just say you think that's a legitimate business strategy that you're just implementing in the ecosystem or something.
Yeah. Well, two parts of that. So first, the salary caps and just my philosophy on that. In order for salary caps to even be effective within the new Riot structure, there has to be a CBA. There has to be a players association that is funded by the players and not funded by a third party. And hopefully that happens really soon, and the players get their shit together and decide to self-fund this and combine their efforts for a really healthy league on behalf of the players' interests. But that's not happening yet. So the ability to introduce salary caps is just impossible.
Steve, can I interject really quick?
Yep.
How long do you think it'll be before that happens? If you had to throw out a rough guess, knowing talent in this space as you do, not trying to lead you on your answer, but I would like to hear your honest opinion on it. And do you think it's good or bad if they do or don't?
I think if they do it, it's fucking amazing, because then we're one step closer to being much more like other professional sports. And you can't implement a draft system until this happens. You can't implement salary caps until this happens. So a lot of additional content that would be really fucking awesome to see is not possible because there's no players association that's self-funded. So I'm all for it. I think it needs to happen. As far as like when it will happen, I think there just needs to be a few players that really step up and just say, hey guys, I'm going to lead this, I'm going to get this done, take the initiative and do it. And hopefully, I think it'll be really dependent upon those individuals stepping up and volunteering their time to get it done.
So the second part of Mark's question was basically like this new meme that spawned out that's like, you have now acquired half the LCS. And so while I know you can't talk about who you've acquired and whatever, but what would you say to fans that are concerned that it just seems like Team Liquid's like going around and like purchasing everything they can?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely seems that way, right? I think part of it is just the timing of everything. We had to execute a deal at the time of the transfer window, and that starts on a certain date, which was the 17th, I believe. And then free agency opens up on the 20th, and that's when player contracts also expire under TL for some players. So we actually have to sign players prior to releasing players. And then, as you would imagine, we want to sign certain players before we release other players that are in similar positions, right? We don't want to trade a player before we have another player that we're happy working with. So because of those conditions, in this moment of time, in this window, it's like, I'm playing Pokemon. But
so you don't deny that you are trying to catch them all.
I love Twitch. Twitch chat was like, he's just so PR answer, and then you're like, yeah, but I'm basically playing Pokemon right now.
Yeah. But for us, what's I have always for the last 5 years put player interests first, and any player that wants to explore playing for another team, if we've got another starter, I definitely will be working with them to make sure that happens.
So, I mean, having worked with you, obviously I know you're a great guy. You're not the kind of person who would hold a contract hostage because some other team is not paying you what you think that player is exactly worth or something like that. But just generally, do you think this is a concerning business practice that potentially someone could sign, 3 players at every position or something like that? Is this something that moving forward should be maybe have some rules against it or anything, or do you think it's not really a big deal at all?
No, I think there should be some rules on it, to be 100% honest, because if someone took an approach and wasn't as, like, I guess, ethically minded or player first, like I am, yes, they could abuse the system. And so there needs to be a fix for that.
Yeah. Do you know what a manga is?
Dude, that was
Did
so
you like
funny.
that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
The
so
video
good.
was great. Did you? Yeah. Were you?
Your acting is really good, Steve.
He wasn't
Thank
acting.
you. I wasn't acting actually on that one.
There are definitely some parts of that video where Steve is acting. It was convincing.
Do you? How? I mean, how did that video come about? Because I actually think it was one of the best announcement videos that we saw on that day. Even if it got
Yeah.
taken down from Reddit like 10 times.
Yeah, it did get. It actually never made it on Reddit, but it
Wait,
was.
why did it get taken down from Reddit?
The mods
Uh,
say it's not directly related to League of Legends or something.
Oh
Well,
my god! All right.
To be
never mind.
honest, an
we're not
announcement
getting on
video
this one again.
isn't. But no, if you
Yeah.
want to make fun of,
They
coaches,
said it's because there's no. Actually, I messaged the mods and tried to figure this out, and they said because there's memes in it,
Oh wow.
that
Okay.
it wouldn't allow it.
yeah, low effort content, producing an entire video,
Yeah.
and, lighting, multiple camera angles. That's low effort content right there.
So, but what did you?
bullshit,
How did
yeah.
you like? What did you guys? Were you trying to figure out what to do with the announcement video? That you decided to do a video where you're trying to figure out how to do the announcement video, or what? How did that come about?
Yeah, so actually, the man behind all of this is actually Jarj, our head analyst, and he just came up with it, pitched it, and him and Damien ran with it. So
Yeah.
He's got a new job.
Well, do
yeah,
we have?
no, director of memes.
Yeah. Do we have any other questions for Steve about this stuff? I mean, I don't know how much more we can ask him because I assume he's not going to be able to talk about a lot of stuff. But
I have one more.
sure.
Steve, were there any surprises for you in franchising for teams? Who got in? Who didn't get in?
Yes, I would say that Immortals was a surprise for me, just from the outside looking in, without knowing much of what was going on.
Okay.
Do we want to ask Twitch chat if they have any questions for him? I don't know if we want to invite a whole
I mean,
other
Twitch
person
chat's
on.
just going to ask, is Double If joining Team Liquid a bunch of times? So I don't know how helpful, but if Twitch chat has any questions,
I'll peruse it and see if one pops out. Steve, is there anything you want to talk about
Yeah,
next season, anything or?
Yeah, I mean, Travis, I had a question for you. I just wanted to know, is there any way to sponsor the show?
yeah,
Hey!
What
paid
is
by
sponsor-
Steve.
My
Hey!
boy!
There are. I don't know if we're currently accepting team sponsors because it's a bit of
We're
a
accepting
conflict
team
of interest.
sponsors.
But yeah, Team Liquid Hotline League brought to you by Steve. No, that'd be good. But if anybody does want to sponsor the show, they could definitely hit me up on my website. Any questions coming in from Twitch chat, Mark, that you want to bring in?
I think there's one that I probably know what the answer is, but someone asked, when do you think, I know you can't get into specifics, but when do you think you'll be able to begin revealing roster information?
We will have a announcement going live tomorrow.
Ooh,
Oh.
Damn!
that's much earlier than I
Damn,
think I
that
was
is-
expecting.
That's a nice exclusive
Yeah.
for our show.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it.
Someone clip it and put it on Twitch and tag us so we could retweet that bomb.
Either way, hey, thanks for calling in, Steve. It was nice of you to make time. I'm sure it's been busy for you.
Thanks,
Yeah.
dude.
It's
Yep.
been great, guys.
Yeah.
All right,
Thanks.
Thanks.
All right,
Yeah.
bye.
See ya.
Best of luck as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Damn,
So
I can't believe he just dropped on us that the roster announcement's coming out tomorrow,
yeah.
dude.
Well, he said
Well, it
a
could be like-
announcement. So I
Yeah,
I
it
doubt
could be an
he's gonna-
announcement of an announcement.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, totally not the roster announcement. Could be any announcement.
Either way, let's see. Let's take one more question about teams. If anybody in Twitch chat, in the Discord chat wants to join in and talk about something.
I'll start moderating or looking for some specifically about new NALCS teams. A
While
logo you
he's
like.
doing that, Kelby, what do you think of? It's funny. I'm pretty sure it implies that the Team Liquid roster is pretty much done the way he was talking about it.
Oh man, I need some more time to think about things that I can and cannot say. Really
Okay,
quick.
so you have some interesting information. I seems like.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm interested to see how this stuff goes. I mean, I think I said this. Oh, I did a meetup yesterday because I was just getting back
Real
from
quick,
Montreal.
Travis,
Yeah.
before this story, I just want to highlight for people who are in the Discord and posting, questions are not good ways of trying to get on the show. If you say, I want to talk about what do you think fan teams can do to like, you're here to bring your opinions to us and we can discuss them. It's much better that way than you asking us a question and hearing our thoughts.
So what do you want to talk about
you.
that? Yeah, put it in the Discord chat. It's funny because I was in Montreal yesterday and I did a meetup with the Montreal esports group that's up there, and one of the questions was like, what do you think of like the Team Liquid stuff? And I was like, well, it's hard for me to speak too much about anything I may or may not know. In fact, I started off the conversation by saying I don't know if Doublelift is leaving TSM or not, or I'm not able to talk about anything.
Right, Doublelift's both of our best friends, so it's like.
But I do think that I expect Steve, knowing Steve the way I do, like, this guy is tired of being the butt of jokes, and he has a lot of access to resources and money that he can now spend to help him accomplish this. So, and I feel like anybody after that year is going to gut the whole roster. So I'm super fascinated to see the players that he picks up.
Yeah. So, I have some philosophical stuff to talk about when we get to the roster portion.
Yeah.
As it relates to like all the rumors that we've been hearing, and yeah.
So we're gonna go into. We've got one more call. Mark is sorting that stuff out. Mark, is ready?
I'll drag him in right now.
It looks like we got Lowman on the show right now. Lowman, hopefully I'm pronouncing that. Where are you coming from as you're calling in?
I'm guessing Chicago.
Just outside Valparaiso, Indiana.
Yeah.
Nice. Wait, is that north or south or east or west?
Of Chicago, it'd be southeast.
Yeah.
Oh,
say Kelby's not.
Kelby's gonna ask your street next.
Yeah.
No, just because the EG has a team house in Bloomington, and that's like south and.
Kelby, by the way, not a telepath. Lowman has a Chicago Cubs icon as his Discord icon.
Yeah, so that's why I said.
I know, but nobody else could see that, Kelby. So you're like, I'm guessing Chicago. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Lowman.
I'm reaching out to Lowman.
Lowman, what do you want to talk about?
So a quick rundown. I've been a League fan since about 2011, and more recently, I've been in the COD scene, and I worked for COD Stats, which is kind of like the HLTV of the COD scene.
Okay.
And so I wanted to give my opinion of Nadeshot as a team owner from the COD scene and why I have worries about it for League of Legends.
Okay. Hit us.
So in the COD scene, Nadeshot developed 100 Thieves, and everyone was excited because he'd finally branched away from Optic Gaming, and things were looking up. He had his big YouTube. Well, the big issue that came out was that he mismanaged his teams mostly through contracts. He would come up with these, I'm going to have this great contract. They'll be paid way better than any other team. And, we'll have this done in X amount of time, let's say 6 months or whatever it was. Well, time went on. He signed these great players. Well, they ended up leaving because contracts fell through. And now obviously he didn't have the same capital investment from like the Cavaliers that he does now. But you have to remember that they're still new to the whole esports scene as well. So there's got to be worries entering the league scene as well.
I mean, I would not worry. So first off, it's interesting. I didn't know this before, so thanks for bringing it up. I don't know, the specifics of what went down there. From working with big companies and just talking to other people that have worked with some of these sports teams, both on the league side and on the Overwatch side, like, there are just armies of lawyers to make sure that everything is fine. So I would never worry about the contract stuff just because, they're going to, assuming, and again, we don't really know how all the stuff is structured, so like how much of 100 Thieves is Nadeshot and how much of it is the Cavs, but assuming that they're leaning heavily on the Cavs as a resource, like, the Cavs are just going to show up with like their army of lawyers with like all these contracts, and hopefully the players have representation as well, but I gotta imagine that stuff is going to work out.
So that's definitely what I was going to kind of throw in there as well. Is I think while Nadeshot will have a big part of like the business aspect, I don't think he'll have much to do like in terms of how do we brand ourselves, how do you connect with gamers, can you go out there and promote some stuff, and he'll be like a big face for the team. I'm not sure how much he'll have to do with the actual day-to-day organization and running of the League of Legends team. I would assume that would mostly fall to Prawley, and maybe another GM. And I doubt Nadeshot is going to get bogged down in contracts when there's many more capable people in the scene of doing that work for him. So I think he will not necessarily have his hands too deep in the actual like day-to-day league team.
What do you think, Loman?
Players more running it.
Yeah.
I definitely thought of that, but I guess the main reason why I wanted to address it was if you head over to like the COD subreddit, the competitive side, you see a lot of people talking about how I can't believe Nadeshot finally made the LCS and he's we're super excited that he's there. There's no way he's gonna mess this up because of his brand, and I'm not talking 100 Thieves brand, I'm talking the Nadeshot brand.
Yeah.
And I think they're a little rose-tinted glasses saying, like, how can a guy with, 3 million YouTube subs mess something up like this? And I just wanted to be like, hey, he's done it before.
Yeah.
Not saying that he would do it again, especially, with, all the lawyers and stuff involved now. But, he's not a perfect person.
Yeah.
Loman, can I ask you another question?
Sure.
So I actually followed 100 Thieves and COD a little bit when like he moved into the Call of Duty space. As far as I was able to see, like he picked up this team when they first like when he first made 100 Thieves that was like kind of controversial in regards to the players on it. They'd had some success, but then like his team didn't really continue their success and they just kind of dropped off. And as you said, like the players went away because of the contracts and stuff. But like, did you see him? What were they doing on the other side? Did they find competitive results? And like, did you see 100 Thieves while they were in Call of Duty producing content or doing compelling things as an organization like you saw when he was a part of the Optic brand? Or how, like, essentially how good of a job did he do aside from the contract thing in regards to like developing a competitive roster and creating narrative around the team that he picked up when he moved into the space that is like his home space?
Right. I guess what I could say is initially the people he brought on as content creators. I believe Nick Merckx is a big streamer and some other people, which then, as they generated some revenue for him and for the brand, he then went out to get COD players to be on the team, and some of them were big names and a lot of success on other teams. But then they went to their first tournament or first two tournaments, bad placings or didn't place at all, whatever it was, and the team, started arguing quite a bit. Well, then it also comes out that he was trying to hold the team together, making all these promises, him being Nadeshot, making all these promises saying like, hey, if you guys just hold this out, we'll get better. Once the contracts are finalized, you'll have sustained income and all this. And he's making all these promises to his players, and not a single one of them came true. So the team ended up disbanding very quickly, actually. I think the team only lasted for maybe a month or two.
Damn.
So, but he still has the content creator side going of 100 Thieves. That's still like his big thing. But yeah, the team fell apart very quickly.
Hey, Loman, thank you for coming on and talking about your concerns with the brand. Definitely an interesting take that I don't think we'd heard recently, and it's good to hear from you, especially given your knowledge of the COD scene. So thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
Alrighty, so you know what that means, Travis? We're on to the team portion, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So should we? I think it makes sense for all of us to do a quick chat about some of our thoughts on this stuff.
Do we need to? I think.
Kelby, do you have anything you want to talk about before we bring people on for roster rumors and stuff?
Oh, we don't want to talk about roster stuff going on before we do questions?
If you,
I didn't know if you guys
to.
had something specific to say. I don't. I mean, like, I can get into specific rumors, but I figure a lot of them will come up naturally. So
well, Kelby, why don't you bring up if you have anything here really quickly?
Yeah. I have one thing that is like weird for me philosophically that I wish players would do a better job on. So, free agency period is starting like right now, essentially, right? Or tomorrow? Is it today or tomorrow?
It's
It
today.
started, earlier
It starts today.
Yeah.
So, and as we heard from Steve, like he potentially or is doing his roster announcement tomorrow. And if he's doing it, that would lead me to believe that probably like there are some other teams doing it as well. What I don't understand is why players are going into free agency and signing agreements like day one. It is not in your best interest as talent to just not shop the market. You know what I mean? I wish that we had players who were more conscious of this effect, and like especially if you are top talent. Like I understand like maybe if you are like not a star in the league, that if you have an offer that's super compelling and you don't have a lot of other interest, then it might be worthwhile for you to, you know, sign as quickly as you can. But if you're a star player in the league and you have a lot of leverage and you can do the whole like, you know, talking to other players, seeing about where they're thinking and stuff, like it makes so much more sense in my mind for you to hold out, or not even hold out, but just like, you know, have all the conversations possible, talk amongst other players and see like what's going on in order to make the most informed decision possible prior to signing with an org. So it's very interesting to me that like I feel like we might see a lot of star talent on roster announcements in the next 48 hours.
So along that line, what happens in traditional sports is actually on the first day, a lot of the max contracts get resolved right away. Because what teams want to do is see if they get their big fish, and then they can fill in with the rest of their budget and things like that around that player. And if you don't get that guy, there's no point to signing the other players. So what often happens is there's like this kind of domino effect in traditional sports where until the big movers or big players are taken, everyone else just kind of mills around. It's interesting in those because a lot of those systems have salary caps. So like I can't give you a better offer than the other guy necessarily. Like there's obviously a lot of options and different things that can go into a contract, but when you boil it down like on a really basic level, like I'm giving you the max contract offer, he's giving you the max contract offer, and here's our plan, here's our pitch. And a lot of times while there's a start of free agency period where you're not supposed to be communicating before that, no one listens to that fucking rule. Probably doesn't happen in esports if I had to imagine either. Like people were probably moving on this stuff quite a bit before the free agency period. So
in traditional sports though, can't agents talk about plans even when a player is under contract? Isn't that their entire job?
Yeah, but teams aren't supposed to meet with players like bring the contract until free agency starts. So like
sure, but an agent can have all the conversations leading up to it. And in esports, you're right. At this point now, especially because of the lack of agents, players are not supposed to have the conversation. So like I understand why in traditional sports on day one we can see it because all those conversations can already be have been had for months. But in esports, like we're supposed to be on like day 1 and 2 of conversations being able to happen, and things are like already getting locked up. Obviously owners are talking to each other and like getting permission about transfer agreements and stuff like that, but still it's just like I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's because nobody's represented. Nobody has agents, and so what happens is you have a player and an owner comes up to him and it's like, hey, I hear you're a free agent, yeah. And they have a conversation. He's like, well, I've got this amazing roster. I need a mid laner for it right now. I will sign you. Here's a big number, but if you don't sign with me right now, like I might grab another mid laner and then you'll lose out on all of it. And so I think there's just a lot of pressure on these players. Now, when everybody has all these agents, the agents will get smart and they'll wheel and deal or whatever. But the problem I think is in talking to a lot of players is the players don't know like who to trust from an agency perspective and like who to have run their shit.
Yeah, I don't think there really are that many great agents.
No,
probably.
There aren't.
So I also, you know, if you ask me, like, do I think players are like competent business people who are probably making sure that they're like checking all their boxes as they figure out what's the best contract for them? Absolutely not. But I think there's definitely probably some problems going on. But I do think these players have probably talked to other players at their position. How much are you getting? Like, they're definitely in communication about stuff prior to this, and you know, I bet it is kind of like traditional sports where it's kind of like what sometimes happens is at midnight, like their agent will receive a fax, they'll sign it, and it'll get taken care of in like, you know, right away. You hear about some people going to their doorstep at midnight of free agency to be like, here's your contract.
Yeah.
So.
Do you? If I ask you guys, I'm curious. Are either of you guys comfortable talking about player salaries? Like, if some of you guys already know player salary numbers, then we can't really talk about it. But Kelby's like hiding a smile. He's doing the standard Kelby hide smile. Well, here, I'll just put this out there. If you guys want to say no comment or whatever, it's fine. But do you think that somebody in the NALCS will make $1 million or more this year?
So I'll answer it in two parts. Actually, wait. Let me get to it.
Okay, Mark.
Well, I'll stall.
Yeah.
And hearing how much some players got last year, and knowing that it was quite a bit above the average in the league, do I think it's going to make the jump that it would need to make to $1 million this year? I think it's possible, but I haven't actually heard that yet.
Yeah, I think
I have a feeling that if a player got a straight up salary for $1 million, not through bonuses necessarily, or not through some of this other stuff, because that's something that happens is
it's like a up to target hit of 1 million.
Yeah, so like one of the contracts, I think it was the supposed Impact one. I was talking with somebody today, I don't remember about it, but they were saying that Jacob Wolf, who broke the story, said that it wasn't salary of $750,000 that he heard. It was like including bonuses, which I'm sure it's like, make worlds, here's an extra $200,000, dude.
Yeah.
So I think including the bonus structure, maybe you hit $1 million this year. I could see that, but I feel like I would hear, because that's such a monumental thing, like we've broken 7 figures, kind of a moment where like,
I mean, we don't even know, like we don't know how many contracts have already been signed. So I think at some point in time during this, we'll hear of multiple $1 million potential income for these guys.
One thing we can say, and Travis, that we've talked about and that we know from, we obviously know a lot of team owners, right? Is that I think there was an expectation, or maybe a glimmer of hope going into franchising, that the exponential growth we've seen in player salaries since outside money got into the space would like slow down once franchising came in and everybody's locked in. Like, okay, we're here, we can chill out a bit. Like there's not going to be this like crazy demand to just throw money at players so that we can make the biggest impact before franchising. And boy, were they fucking wrong. Like player salaries have just like gone, I don't know,
through the roof. Yeah,
even more bonkers, dude. And everybody's like, what the fuck? This wasn't supposed to happen. Like people, I'm sure that there are people coming in and they were like doing, outside teams doing their models like, okay, so we did our research right. We know that people are getting this much now, and we're forecasting this and this. And then just like year one out the gate, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, it must be interesting. Like, I mean, it's a good point, because it must be interesting for these, especially the new teams, like not just the Golden State Warriors and Cavs and Rockets, but even like MSG, who came in with CLG earlier this year. It must be interesting for them, because all these guys are in a forecastable environment normally, because there are salary caps, so they can create a model, and they know, like, give or take 10 or 20%.
Right.
Like how much they're going to have to spend next year for their whole thing. Here, it's like they get in, and there's a chance that suddenly their model is like 50% of what it should be.
Yeah. And they know in traditional sports, much better forecasting for revenue, because you have it built out over like decades, and everybody's
like
coming in and being
5-year, 10-year sponsorship. Yeah.
Right. And everybody's coming in now and being like, well, we hope that we can revolutionize what's going on in sponsorships, and we hope that Riot will, break the mold for what's going on in, broadcasting rights, probably, and broadcast revenue and rev share through that. So all I will say is that, like, and I mean, Travis, I've said this like 100 times, but like we talk about it a lot. I think that every org coming into LCS from the outside needs to be ready to burn cash for at least At least 5 years. Significant piles of money. And if you don't
Do you
have
think
that
any of these guys are? Do you think that these guys are ready to lose money for 5 years?
if I was talking to an org and I was talking to their VC and they were like getting consulting based on what I know about, running teams, where sponsorships are at in the space, the trajectory. Like, I have pretty good business acumen for what's going on in esports across all scenes. And, having run an LCS team, yeah, I know.
Damn. Woo.
I'm just
Who is
saying,
this
like,
guy's? He's shooting his horn.
I'm just saying, like, I have a pretty good understanding of where revenues and operational expenses are at for teams across all different games. And, like, I think it's just, if I was talking team, I would be like, yo, man, if your expectations are anything else than burning cash for 5 years and probably losing 7 figures for the first, like, 3, this is not what you want to be in, man. This is a generational play. Like, this is investing to the understanding that down the road, this will be big enough that, you can recoup some money, but you need to be in it for the long term, dude.
All right, so did you answer, though? Did you make an educated guess or call on if someone makes over $1 million?
I chose not to, but I said that I thought that
you said yes.
Were going up. really.
You said yes. All right.
Really.
Kelby says yes. I'll listen to Kelby.
Okay.
We're breaking $1 million this offseason, boys.
Okay, here, last question before we go into calls. Is it bad that this is happening, that player salaries are going so high that we might see players getting $1 million for 1 year's worth of play this year?
I think it depends what happens next year, because I think this is kind of understandable with a bunch of teams coming in. You heard Steve talking about some teams coming in and not even knowing how to, like, get their internet set up. So I think there's a sense of panic for some of these teams. They're like, oh fuck, we need a big name now. So I can see a world where some of these guys are, going to overpay to get low A, B tier talent, potentially.
Yeah. And
the question would be, as you move into year 2, is the offseason this crazy where teams, like, literally don't even know how to run?
Yeah.
And I would hope the answer is it doesn't go up that much next year. But
I mean, I hope it goes down next year.
I think that whether or not it's bad is, again, completely dependent on the people that are funding it and what their expectations are.
Yeah.
Ultimately, there are people from either Riot's side or the org side who were setting expectations for these guys because they don't know what they're getting into coming in the space, and they needed all this information fed to them, right? And somebody sold each one of these organizations on this vision dream model, right? Hopefully they've thought that far. People with this much money usually do, right? So God, I hope so. As long as expectations are set properly and accordingly, and I know I think that for some orgs, they have expectations set accordingly, right? Other ones, I just have no idea. And as long as expectations are set well, I think that we'll be fine. Otherwise, we could see some people that are like, damn, this is really different than what I signed up for. And they have signed up for permanent franchising, dude. So that could be a really awkward situation if they were, like, expecting to, like, start break even at year 3, and they're like, "Damn, we're still."
Well, we're losing Kelby. We're losing multiple people. All right, hang on. Let's do this, and now I'm gonna recall you guys. 1 second, everyone. Whoa, I'm still getting audio coming through.
All right, now it's better.
Yeah, I dropped the Skype call, and I'm going to call you guys back.
Yeah, make sure to mute your mics as soon as you accept.
Yeah.
All right,
Mark, turn on his webcam and we'll be good.
Yep, there we go.
Okay. So sorry, Kelby, you want to wrap up your...
No,
Point.
that's all I was saying.
That was the internet telling us to move on.
It's happening.
It's happening again.
Okay.
I think
Skype.
it's Discord actually.
I think it's Skype. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Now it's not lagging.
So Skype is somehow killing the Discord call?
I don't know how Discord works.
They're
Am I, like,
combating each other.
Yeah, this is Microsoft's new plan. Oh,
am I somehow like hosting the Discord on my computer and like because I'm the only one who hung up the call, right? Because I still see you
Yeah.
two.
Yeah.
So is Discord running on my computer and like this channel? I don't know. How
Twitch chat, what do you guys think? Yeah, everybody's spamming net neutrality right now in chat. This is a perfect example. All right, go call your representative.
Yep.
This is what
I
you're
called
going to
mine
get.
today.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly, but it seems like it's working for now. So why don't we? Do you want to take like a 2-minute break before we move into the?
Yes. Let's
Team
do
section?
that. I will. We'll be right back, everyone.
Before you guys go, though, we have a TSM fan, I believe, in waiting. So we're gonna start off hot with the juiciest topic.
Yeah. All right. All right, we're back. Hopefully the technical issues have been resolved. We did some stuff behind the scenes. It was highly technical and highly complicated. Don't want to waste anyone's time. But I don't know what Kelly was talking about, but I was starting to fall asleep. So I think we're just going to go into some...
Fuck you, Travis.
It wasn't just Travis. The internet was falling asleep. It stopped broadcasting.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh god, Kelly.
Trying to help us out.
I'll go check with this guy.
Yeah. So we've got a call coming in just a second. Is Mike still muted? No, it's fine. Everybody, Twitch chat losing their minds. We've got a TSM fan coming in just a second. We're going to be talking to them. I want to give a shout out, by the way, to Volks, LOL, who resubbed for 2 months. All right, tuned in. # paid by Steve. Deslayer4147 resubbed for 3 months. Hey, thanks you guys for the best content. Robot Russ subbed. And Bow Down to Me subbed as well. Thanks you guys for the subs. That stuff helps out for sure. It looks like Mark is still figuring that stuff out. So, by the way, I'm running a Patreon. I don't have a sponsor. The show's not sponsored. I'm not paid by Steve. TravisGafford.com/support. All the information about that stuff over there. And we're back. Mark, who did you bring in here?
We got You Can't Control Me, and he's here
Jesus.
to talk about TSM.
Hello, You Can't Control Me. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from East Lansing, Michigan.
East Lansing, Michigan. Okay. And what do you want to talk about with TSM?
The roster moves, both speculated roster moves, obviously.
Okay.
And how that'll work out.
So what specifically, or what are your thoughts on the rumors so far?
Well, I was the first one I saw was the alleged acquisition of Sven and Mithy, because I thought that was really interesting. Because you saw them at like Worlds, and like they were kind of directly competing with Double and Bio, whereas now they're like potentially their replacements.
Yeah. Are you excited about that acquisition?
I'll be honest, I'm like a big fan of Doublelift and Biofrost, so I feel like you can't help but like think that you're losing something there, especially since like at least domestically they've been pretty damn good.
Okay. And so
Yeah.
you would not be happy if that ends up coming out true.
I mean, I'm not a big person who watches Europe because who is?
Dude, I love this guy already, man.
But I don't know. Like obviously, Sven and Mithy are kind of like Doublelift and Biofrost within their own region, and they're pretty dominant there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a hard judgment call to make as to whether they'll be better or not. But you feel like TSM's going to lose a little bit of its swagger and some of its shot calling with they'll have to rework an entirely new dynamic with that.
Did you watch Worlds?
Yeah, I understand they sucked.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, what shot calling? I saw a lot of standing around in lane and hoping that the enemy team would kill themselves.
Do you yeah, that brings a question you can't control me. Like, what would you, as a TSM fan, like to see? Do you want to see change? Do you want them to keep the roster? Like, what would you have liked to see?
I think it's the right move if you want for World's competitive success. I'm just saying, with any change like this, you're introducing a chance that TSM doesn't make finals or something like that. Like there's a chance where you drop it. Whereas if you're running the same roster back, they're gonna suck and drop out in groups, but they're gonna make it to groups. They're gonna be pretty consistent.
Yeah.
All right. So let me ask you this: as a fan, would you be fine if they ran it back?
Yeah.
Did all their stuff where they're like, we're gonna try our hardest at Worlds this year, and shit out in groups? Would you be satisfied as a fan, or would you prefer taking a risk and having it bomb?
That's interesting. I mean, obviously, at that point, it's like a little hindsighty, but
No, you can tell me right now which you would prefer.
No, but I'm saying like, if you're telling me whether I'd like them to bomb or not, that's of course going to be the one you don't choose. But I'm saying like, you'd obviously rather take the chance, because I don't know, it'd just be like something that would feel really great as a TSM fan.
Here's a question. How many roster changes would TSM need to make before you are no longer a fan of the team? Or are there any? Like, I always am curious about this with TSM fans. Like, you are a fan of TSM. Let's say they only kept Soren and changed everybody else out. Would you continue to be a TSM fan?
I mean, I'm a fan of Bjergsen, so I can see him being the only remaining member, and I'll still be a fan of them. And
what if there's no Bjergsen?
Oh.
I mean, then what? You're not even on TSM anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I just asked because there are some sports fans that are like that, right? Like if there are probably some TSM fans that are like that. Like, you could change out the whole roster of TSM, and they will still root for TSM because they are a fan of TSM, not even specifically the roster. So it's just an interesting question, I think.
Well,
I think you go ahead. No.
I'll be like, I'm kind of newer to watching NALCS. I started watching in summer split 2016. So like, as long as I've been watching, even Biofrost has been on the roster, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like they're all kind of, from my perspective, they're all like, as far as I can tell, like TSM.
Yeah. Are you, Mark? Go ahead.
So I was gonna kind of stick on the whole changing players thing because I'm gonna give you my take a little bit, and you can tell me what your take is as someone who doesn't want the team to change as much as I do. Because I take the opinion that we've seen this roster twice at your Worlds. It hasn't got out of groups either time. It looked particularly bad this time. And if your aspirations are to do well at Worlds, something needs to change. And everything is going to come at a risk when you're at the top of North America. The only place you can go in North America is down, and you won't know if you're going up at all until Worlds potentially. So I understand there's a large risk here, but you got to change something. And as much as people want to put a lot of it on Parth, I think it's a little naive to assume someone who has had the most domestic success in the West is somehow going to get someone's going to come in and get so much more out of this team. So and even maybe then people say, well, change the jungler too, and then you've changed a fair amount of the team. But I'm of the opinion that I didn't think Biofrost or Doublelift has looked great at the past 2 Worlds, so I'm fine with them making potentially a slight upgrade to bring in a new team. So what's your perspective on something like that?
I pretty much agree, especially since the interesting thing is if you're bringing in Sven and Mithy, correct me if I'm wrong, but Sven is still European, so they would have to change him out. You can't run all 3 of those players.
Yep, correct.
So you would then be changing 3 out of the 5 players in TSM, and if we're being honest, probably 3 of the 5 more volatile players that are like more like Bjerg is your rock, and like Haunter was popping off on Worlds, and the other players were kind of more problematic, or at least had the potential to be.
Yeah. Hey, you can't control me. Thank you so much for calling into the show. Really appreciate your take on the TSM. It's always fun talking to TSM fans. Gets Twitch chat going crazy.
Can I offer my take on this before we move on to the next person?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like this is going to seem extremely divisive, and it's not something that I am 100% committed to as a philosophy, but it's kind of just something that I've been thinking about as it relates to the potential of this roster change. Let's, for the purposes of this exercise, assume that Double and Bio are gone and Sven and Mithy are coming in. What is your ultimate goal as an NA LCS team? Obviously, results at Worlds have been very poor. How far do you guys personally think that an NA team needs to go at Worlds in order for fans to be satisfied? Is it just getting out of groups? Is it getting 2 quarterfinals? Is it getting semis?
Finals, baby. We got to win.
No, I want a serious answer, though, for the purpose of the exercise. Though.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
I think...
Where do you think fans are
You just need to show progress. Like, if somebody had... Like, if all 3 of our teams had gotten into quarters and had a good showing, that would have been historic, and people would have cheered for them. And if we had had a team get to semis, like, that would have been historic, and people would have cheered for NA. I think you just have to show progress.
My opinion is it's kind of contextual, because if you end up in a tough group and you don't get out, I don't think people would say G2 had a disappointing Worlds necessarily. I think that people would have been much happier if they got out. But I think if it's a situation where a bunch of North American teams get out of Worlds, or if you're talking about a specific team, what counts as success, I would say beating teams that people respect is for me the most important thing.
Gotcha.
Not I got to semis. I don't give a fuck. H2K got to semis.
Yeah, dodging Koreans.
Yeah, doing nothing. They beat a fucking wildcard team that lucked its way there. All right.
Yeah.
So you got to beat, or at least have a good showing versus a respectable team. So I would say if someone put up a Misfits-like performance and got knocked out in quarters, I would count that as a successful run to a degree.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. I think that an NA team, in order to actually have people care beyond like the 2-month window of Worlds, having success and it translating over, is like semis or maybe even finals. And my feeling right now is, based on the historical results of NA, that's not happening. Yeah. I don't think that it's really possible. So understanding that, I think that what is most valuable potentially for an NALCS, and I'm not married to this, but what is potentially most valuable to an NALCS team is being the best in NA, and then once you are there, being as popular as possible. Yeah. Sven and Mithy are obviously going to be a massive popularity downgrade from Double and Bio. And what happens is, if you release Double and Bio, you now have 2, while not at the world stage top performers in NA, elite players that you are introducing now into the competitive scene against you on other teams. And bringing in Sven and Mithy gives you 2 good players, obviously, as well, but otherwise they're outside the market. So you are making potentially a lateral move in regards to talent, or maybe a slight upgrade, a significant downgrade in regards to popularity, and introducing more competition into the space for your competitors, like ammo for them to try and take you out. In that regard, I might argue that this roster move is like potentially foolish, especially if they do not show any greater performance at Worlds or a significant upgrade. Then you've just gotten a significantly less popular team as like the Reddit reaction was across the board, and what have you done for your results? Like I appreciate the ambition of chasing the dream of performing better at Worlds, but there's been nothing to indicate to me at this point that it will happen for a North American team.
Yeah.
I can take that perspective. I wouldn't even say it's necessarily wrong, but I think if you're looking at the competitive perspective, you can never accept that as your answer.
For sure.
Yeah. And what I will say, just on the popularity angle, everyone who joins TSM becomes a rock star. And if Sven is actually fucking hilarious, I think Sven's super funny, like what I've seen of him, and I think the exposure that TSM does with their content, things like that, will only endear him to NA more, and people will learn to love him. Maybe never as much as Double
potentially,
never as much as Double F2 is so iconic, but I think people will. Like Hanser was a fucking nobody, and now he's one of the most popular players because he's funny.
Yeah.
Well,
let's,
I mean,
okay.
and he's got a sick body.
Let's.
That's probably the most important thing.
Let's move on to the next caller. If you want to bring him up, Mark.
Yep.
All right. It looks like we got AJ on the line. AJ, where are you calling from?
Hey, I'm calling from British Columbia, Canada.
Hey,
Nice.
Canadian. Are you anywhere near
but
Vancouver?
you're not American then, so why do you
What?
care about North? I'm kidding. Canada, no.
Oh, I get it. What's a great joke, Mark?
Some shit. Yeah, go fuck me. All right.
AJ, are you anywhere near Vancouver?
It goes about an hour out.
Nice. Okay. Love that city. All right. So what do you got? What do you want to talk to us about?
I was just looking at the rumors regarding CLG recently, and I noticed that one of the big ones is that Aphromoo hasn't signed yet. And so, as a CLG fan, I feel like Aphromoo is like a really big core player for CLG, and because he does like a lot of shot calling and he's a leader in other ways as well. So I kind of fear that like if he leaves, even though he's only one player, as opposed to like TSM where you get a lot of players, even if just Afro leaves, that might back on the leadership of the team.
I mean, it depends on who they replace him with, right?
But I just feel like there aren't a lot of options that are like as good at leadership and as like well known in that regard as Afro. There might be some, I guess, but yeah, I don't know.
I mean, but that begs the question, like, do you think that Afro is irreplaceable for CLG? Like, can CLG not stand with, or cannot succeed without Aphromoo?
It could probably succeed. I don't think it's like impossible, but I at the very least, I think there for sure be a lot of growing pains to get used to, not having your main shot caller. Like, all these guys, I guess, except for Omar, who's pretty new, the rest of them are really used to Afro, shot calling them and sort of being your leader. So they're, at the very least, I would think in the beginning they'd have a lot of growing pains. But I do think it's possible that they could still succeed and become, finals team and that kind of thing. But yeah, there'd be some growing pains for sure.
Yeah. Kelby, you manage, well, Mark, if you've got something, but also, Kelby managed Aphromoo, so I'm curious if you have any thoughts on this.
I think that it was really bad when CLG lost Double Lift, and I think that losing Aphromoo would be another bad change in direction for the organization. I mean, CLG cut Double Lift because, well, I mean, yeah, it's public information now, right? Yeah, that Afro went to CLG and said like it's a me or him situation.
Yeah, it's in Faith, a Double Lift documentary produced by Travis Gafford and David Estrada.
Hey, sometimes you forget about what's out there and what's not, right? But yeah, it's real rough, man. Like, I think that I also don't know what that bot lane dynamic is like, because bot lane is the one position or one area of the map where you don't necessarily have a 100% understanding if the success of that lane is because of two individual players' talents or because one person is helping lead the other. Like, remember when we had Peter or Double and Yellowstar on the same team? Two like really awesome players, but like they just did not work together. And I know at the beginning of Peter's career, like, without Chowster teaching him how to play the game, Peter does not develop into the AD carry that he does today. Probably the same thing with Biofrost on the come up with Peter. So, like, is Stixay in a position where he can exist in a lane and be as successful and brilliant at times as he's seemed without Afro in the lane? I don't know because, I don't coach the team. But that's something that's, would be very interesting to me, aside from the fact that, yes, once Peter left, Afro stepped into the emotional leadership role for the team, has seemed to do a very good job of that, is obviously a great player, the most popular player on CLG, and potentially like the lane leader for bot. Like, I'm sure CLG is doing everything in their powers to keep him, and we have no idea whether or not he'll actually, be leaving the team or not. But yeah, it would seem like probably the biggest loss that CLG could suffer in the offseason across the board.
Yeah.
So my thoughts are two things. One, like I've talked to a lot of players, and I think he is the most desired player to play with by people.
Damn.
I think Bjergsen might be higher, but I think like when you took him out, I think Afro was the one that people wanted to play with the most after that. I think High was up there pretty high too. There's a thing, and I think that speaks to how much market value he has. It's just like a lot of people want to play with him, and I don't think that there's a real way that you get this like a substitute that's going to step in and fill his shoes. Like your team just has to fundamentally change when he leaves. They do have Darshan, who's very vocal, though it's super hard to shot call from top lane.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you can always have other people talk on the team. So we'll see who he seems very, very smart. And he's pretty fluent in English, so I'm sure he could do it. But yeah, Afro's such a big voice that you don't just replace somebody like that.
Yeah.
And what I'll ask AJ before I kick him out, based off who might be out of a team right now through the rumors, you have potentially Biofrost, you have potentially maybe TL's Matt if Afro's going there, as well as basically anybody. Let's say Afro takes their job. Is there another support in the league that you would feel comfortable with taking over for Aphromoo? Is there some guy that you would want if Afro's just totally off the board?
I don't feel like anyone can really fully replace what he brings, but just based on gameplay, if Olleh is available, I think he would be a good option probably, just because he's obviously like amazing last season.
Mm-hmm.
If he replaced the shot calling in the same way, he might. I mean, he made some good shot calling plays last split, but I would probably go with Olleh as my top one. Maybe Biofrost is another one too.
Yeah. Thanks, AJ, so much for the call. Appreciate it, and good to talk to you about CLG. Hopefully you can stay warm in British Columbia.
Too bad.
Yep.
Thanks, Seed.
Thanks.
All right, so Mark, if you want to... we've got somebody right now. So Mr. Brightside, which is a killer song, has joined us. Whereabouts you calling us from?
Australia.
Australia! Oh, this is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So,
did you guys ask me something? I see Twitch chat saying I disappeared.
I think they were just noticing that you were talking to somebody else in the other chat because people can see your webcam. Mr. Brightside, what time is it in Australia right now?
It's 7 o'clock at night.
7 o'clock at night. Okay, so not too bad. What do you want to talk about?
I wanted to talk about the player contract acquisition from Immortals to Liquid.
Okay, the rumored one, we should say.
Yeah,
Steve was not willing to give us that many details.
Yeah, and I just wanted to touch on I wanted to obviously get your guys' input and talk about who I thought would be worth keeping from that.
Yeah.
From the rumored acquisition.
Because the idea is they picked up all the players that Immortals still had under contract, which the big three people would know are Xmithy, Pobelter, and
Cody-san.
Yeah. And then they had two other folks as well on the bench. What? Do you have a thought, Brightside?
Yeah, personally, I thought out of the three, I thought Pobelter was the most interesting. Would be the best pickup. I mean, obviously, it's hard to say exactly how good he could be with Mickey still having not been seen much.
Yeah.
And the other one, I thought was Xmithy as well.
Yes.
Which is more of a bigger discussion, really, because of he's the sixth jungler that Liquid have now on their list. But that was, it was a bit harder now when it's going to best of ones. So I thought best of threes, if they had Xmithy and like Dardoch, for example, that would be ridiculously good.
Yeah, I mean, what do you guys think about his question? You know, who do you think you would want to keep around, and also do you keep some of these players and put them on your academy team? Because remember, these guys have to field academy teams now. Mark and Kelby.
Yeah, I think it's hard to probably convince Cody to play on an academy team, because if we're taking Steve at his word that he wouldn't hold anyone hostage or anything like that, and he's willing to move that player, I think you would expect Cody to end up on a team and not on an academy team. And I do think Cody is potentially worth keeping. If the double lift thing is 100% Team Liquid, then yeah, I think you take double lift over Cody. But especially given that you're not getting Olleh with him, and you don't know how much of that lane was Olleh, I think there's a big question mark with Cody playing without his one lane mate that we've seen in the LCS.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it would be really interesting. People might not remember this, but if you think about it, if they keep Xmithy and Pobelter in this scenario, and the rumor about double lift is true, that those were three guys that played. That's the majority of the 2015 CLG team that beat TSM and did all that stuff right before double lift left. So
and two of them got removed at the same time.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see if that's like a good thing, if there was a lot of strength there, or what happens. So, Kelby, you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I think that it'll be really valuable for teams to hold on to as many strong players as possible for a good academy team. I think that something that we really haven't seen explored yet in LCS is the value of having like essentially a second roster to, especially if they're stronger players, learn and practice twice as much stuff, right? And potentially be like a tester team for you in specific, like we want to play against this thing or practice against this strategy. And the stronger your academy team gets, then the better of a simulation and like better research you can get from them. So if you're able to keep top talent around for this team and have them be an even better sister team for the org, I think it'll be really valuable for the orgs who actually don't just think only about how are they going to build out their starting roster, but what does the academy team look like, and how are we using them in developing the overall strength of the starting five.
Yeah, Mr. Brightside, any final thoughts on the IMT thing? Otherwise, I just want to ask you a question about Australia.
Yeah, no, I guess I just wanted to put that out there and see what you guys thought. Really?
Yeah, thanks. Do you watch any of the Oceania League of Legends esports?
No, I don't.
Okay, so do you watch anything besides NALCS?
Yeah, I watch a bit of EU.
Okay.
Korea
You watch
well.
EU over Oceania? That's not good.
Yeah.
Okay, that's rough. Does Oceania ever have a chance, you think?
I want to believe.
Okay, all right.
Probably not.
Hopefully they can get some fans at some point in time.
Did you care about Tainted Minds at all?
I did. I thought that was bad.
Yeah.
That didn't help anything about the OCA Pro League.
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much for coming on, and great to hear from Australia. Have a good rest of your day.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, man.
All right, so I was thinking, Mark, maybe we do two more questions about the team stuff, and then we do two just open air whatever questions anybody wants to talk about, and then we maybe wrap up the show.
All right. We'll see how many other questions people have.
Sure.
But before I'll get a little bit of a leading question here then. If somebody wants to talk about something that's not TL, CLG, or TSM from here on out, I would love to hear about, the supposed Apollo, Lyra, Hakuho, potentially someday as well, team that you hear getting kicked around. Maybe some other of those rumors. Maybe Ryu potentially meeting back up with Prawley. Any of these other ideas, I'd love to get off onto some of these other new teams potentially.
So do we got another caller?
Yes, we do, and it's a returning caller, Travis.
Oh yeah, Ichi Rakuman. I remember having a hard time pronouncing your name. Welcome back to the show.
He's a sub.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
Yes, of course. I know all my subs and their names and their birthdays, the name of their children. So, can you remind me again where you're calling from?
I'm in
Portland. Dude, don't you remember he was talking about how Portlandia is like exactly what Portland is?
Yes, of course I remember this, Mark. Please let him answer the questions.
I'm sorry.
All right, so from Portland, what do you want to talk about?
I kind of want to talk about how a lot of people on Reddit, after the rumors of MikeYoung being the new TSM jungler, a lot of them were like,
Who?
On Reddit, how a lot of people were talking about how MikeYoung would be the new TSM jungler.
I was looking for a MikeYoung.
MikeYoung!
MikeYoung.
Yeah, how everybody was like hyping up and how it would be like a big saving grace for the roster, and I don't really agree with that. I don't think that MikeYoung doesn't really solve a lot of their problems. Like MikeYoung, while he did have like a lot of star player moments, it didn't really seem like it would solve some of the problems that TSM had, and like things like what I noticed at Worlds was like it seems like they lacked what a lot of the best teams have, which is like a killer instinct, you know. Like it felt like they were all just playing super scared all the time, and they didn't really know how to do something proactively. And I feel like from what I've seen from MikeYoung, like any little bits of audio that we can get from the comms of their games, interviews and stuff, he seems like a really passive person. I don't know how he like actually talks in the game, but just from personality wise, he doesn't really seem like he would solve anything with that.
Yeah.
So I don't really think he would like be a saving grace for the team. I do think he's a really good like up and coming player, and I think that a lot of the blame towards Sven wasn't really justified, and a lot of it reasons why he might look bad is like team stuff.
Twitch chat is taking issue with your saying that Reddit said this. People are saying Reddit feels like he's overrated. But you saw this elsewhere? Was this on the TSM sub or the League of Legends sub?
I don't remember where, but I can't remember if it's on TSM sub or on our League of Legends, but I remember seeing some comments.
By the way, just a quick pause. The Mark Z just subscribed to my channel, so thank you very much because Zix gifted him a $4.99 sub.
Nice.
Tony's here?
Zix
Lawlin.
Tony in the chat. Mark subbed to my channel. Mark, thank you. I want you to enjoy the sub. It's the greatest gift. By the way, so I'm sorry to cut you off, Ichiro-kuman, but if the holidays are here, you want to get a great gift for your family, your friends. A sub to my channel is just one of the greatest gifts you could get. And by the way, you want to make sure that your friends really understand how much you appreciate them. Go for the $24.99. Okay, the $4.99. It was great that Ziggs did that for Mark, but like if you could afford it, go for the $24.99 because that's really going to show them how much you care.
I think what Zix is trying to do is to buy his way onto the show. So if Tony wants to come on towards the end, I'm absolutely open.
I'd love to have Tony on.
To get back to your point, though, I think that you brought up one thing that is really interesting. So in my personal talks with Doublelift after Worlds this time around, one of the things that he brought up specifically is that one of the big points of disparity between performance of NA and EU teams on the world stage is this ability to play like you're not scared. EU teams are much better, for whatever reason, at getting out on stage and just playing like no fucks, right? Like, and you have to have that killer instinct. It's really important. And we see it all the time in League of Legends. It's so much more common to see the people who are proactive on the map, the ones who are making plays, forcing issues, are the guys who take advantages, are able to snowball and win games, especially at the highest level. People who are playing defensive and like, I'm not the league expert that I used to be, but because I don't watch as much as I used to. Shut the fuck up, Travis. All right? I had a very good understanding of the game at one point.
That's why your team almost got relegated.
Yeah. I'm not on stage, dude. I didn't have the mechanics.
Okay, yeah.
But the mind was there. Sure. I'm just kidding. It's like you see so many even top teams just like slowly bleed out, and it's really hard to come back. So I think that, you're right. Having the killer instinct, especially on the big stage, is what's really important. And we haven't seen. I'm not saying MikeYoung doesn't have it, but I think that you're absolutely right. Finding that ingredient when it matters, it's what's going to push NA forward on the world stage. Who do you get though
if you got Sven and Mithy supposedly taking up your import slots? Like you need a domestic jungler. Xmithy, you try to get Steve to bring him over. I mean, your options are somewhat limited to some of these new rookies.
Well,
Yeah,
if you're
that's a thought.
committing to Sven and Mithy, yeah, but it's not if you're keeping
Okay.
NA players. Like, what if you did double lift and Olleh? You know what I mean? And then you can use your, I don't know, import slot on a jungler if you wanted. I'm not saying it's the right play. It's just a different philosophy, right?
Ichi, sorry,
Yeah.
you were gonna say something. I think.
And maybe they are doing that. We don't know. Who knows what
I
will
feel
come?
like TSM probably just really wanted to get rid of the bot lane as a whole, not necessarily because they're bad or anything. It just seems like they wanted like a bigger change, and doing it in the bot lane would be the change, because 2 years in a row the same roster went to Worlds, and like despite how much you can compare Sven and Mithy to Doublelift and Biofrost, like the ending result and the fact of the matter is that the roster went to Worlds 2 times.
Right.
Both times they failed, so it's kind of ignorant to like not make a pretty substantial change. So I think that changing to Sven and Mithy is really
So, just a quick point about MikeYoung is, having talked to a lot of players about him, they feel like he is a little cheesy in a sense, where he goes for like a lot of high risk, high reward stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that is both good and bad. And how TSM used to operate before, maybe they were a little bit too much on the, we don't like high risk, high reward. They often played like too low risk, low rewards. They ended up with no rewards. It felt like like against good teams who could match them. And I think MikeYoung, like you're saying, Kelby, can kind of fill that void potentially, while hopefully getting coach some of the bad habits out of him. So I can see a world where MikeYoung works out, but I also agree that I don't think he's going to come in and be this superstar right away. But I do think his style does work really well with strong laners, because if you're going to go ape shit in someone's jungle, having people who are kind of winning on their own emphasize that play style. So I could see this working out pretty well regionally as well, potentially.
Yeah, I agree. The other thing about like having like bringing on a really aggressive jungler is just like something that like I think about when that happens, specifically with TSM. It's just like how Svenskeren was like touted as like a really good aggressive jungler who would like counter jungle you, go in your jungle and fuck you up. And then it seemed like over the course of TSM, he just turned into like a ward bot basically. And some people, I'm not really sure how I feel if this would happen with MikeYoung, but also believe that like the same thing could happen with MikeYoung, you know, because it seems like they have a history of turning their junglers into ward bots. So like, what do you guys think about that?
I mean, it's not impossible. I've seen it happen on teams in the past where players have unique playstyles coming in, and then a team's culture can dictate their playstyle to them, and you change the player. And especially like every player in League like has a natural instinct. Like they have a natural style, right? And some are better at adapting than others, but I personally believe that the chemistry of rosters and success that you find is being able to find players who natural playstyles will eventually work together, and that's where we find the best squads.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for coming on, Ichi. Really appreciate it. Good to talk to you
problem.
again. Enjoy Portland, and thanks for being a sub.
Yeah, see ya.
See ya.
See you, dude.
All right. Well, Kelby, I think these things are going along pretty well. By the way, I want to do a couple shout-outs. So, again, thanks to Zixlaw, Dark Defender subbed, and Boba Cola sub. Resub for 4 months. Boba Cola with the 4-month sub. Thank you very much. We are continuing our talk. If you're just calling in, we have...
Sorry.
Oh, we got Mark back. And
Hello.
we got somebody here.
I just want to say,
Yeah.
No one mentioned that my microphone is on it's on my laptop.
Okay.
That's why my typing's been so loud. This is all for show.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Okay, there we go. Jonas, where are you calling from?
I'm from Long Island, New York.
Nice. Well, thanks for calling in. I know it's late there, so I appreciate you staying up to watch.
Yeah. So I just wanted to talk about Echo Fox, actually, how recently, Optic got Acadian. Well, at least that's what's rumored to be happening.
Yeah.
And Echo Fox as a whole, because a lot of people are thinking like Afro could go to Echo Fox, and should Keith stay in all this other stuff? Should they build around Froggen? And I just wanted to discuss it. Yeah.
What do you think? Yeah.
Well, in my opinion, I think Froggen is a good base. He's always been a well-performing mid laner. He's someone who always puts out good numbers stats-wise. It's just like the whole shot calling thing hasn't always been his best aspect. So maybe bringing in someone like Aphromoo would be really good for a team.
I love this idea. kind of love this idea. I love this topic because Kelby was just doing a great job talking about people's natural play styles. And I think Froggen is someone who has an extremely risk-averse natural play style. And from what we've heard about him over the years, is someone who is fairly strong-headed about how he wants to play the game. And I think that's how you end up in these situations where someone gets molded into a player they don't really want to be, and suddenly they seem bad. And so my question to you, Jonas, is you say Froggen is this great player to play around, but he hasn't been on a successful team in years, despite a lot of moving parts around him. So do you really believe that he is a superstar? And is this a guy that, like, if you're a big fan of Echo Fox, do you want to keep moving forward with this guy? I think, no doubt in my mind, he's one of the most talented players to ever play the game. But it's the question of, is he the guy that you build a whole team around?
Well, I think ever since Alliance, yeah, he's had a rough time. But the reason like Echo Fox keeps him is like this guy, like, you know, if you look at the stats, he's never like less than top 4 stats wise. Of course, like you can always make the argument that like it's who he is ahead of him because just of who he can bring in comparison to Froggen. But I think if you give Froggen someone who can have a voice and kind of lead him to like tell him what to do with his leads, because he's always this guy who's getting huge leads in lane, but he can't ever like put it across the map, if you know what I mean. So I think building around him, as long as you get someone else who can shackle, is a great idea. At least that's my opinion of it.
Yeah. Do you think Afro and him butt heads at all? I mean, we've heard Afro doesn't necessarily like working with strong-willed players potentially with Doublelift. I'm not saying, Froggen's on the Doublelift level when Doublelift was back in the day and was apparently not the nicest man to play with. But would you be optimistic about Afro and him working out?
Yeah, I think so. But the thing is, like, in that idea that there needs to be a shot caller, I don't know who else is a free agent that's really that big of a shot caller who hasn't already been, well, quote unquote, taken. Like Doublelift's supposedly already on Team Liquid. I don't know who else would really.
How would you feel about Olleh? He's a pretty aggressive guy, gets on the map. I think he could potentially synergize with some of offsetting Froggen's weaknesses.
Yeah, but Olleh would be good, but isn't he? He would be Korean because they already have Looper and Froggen. Because I think Looper's actually a strong player. Just again, there's like no base that they were really working off of.
High returns to support.
Is Froggen not resident status now?
Nope.
It's been so long.
I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe
no, he joined a little too late.
Gotcha. I think that you guys are right. I think if this thing were to happen, like hypothetically, that it would be incredibly dependent on how Froggen and Afro synergize. From when I knew Zach on from when I knew Afro on the team, like he was the kind of leader where I think he was only able to step into that role once Peter left the team because he needs to be the strongest willed personality on the team to be the leader, but he's not like super vocal when there's other strong willed personalities around him. He's not super like naturally vocal himself. Afro is like a pretty chill, like passive dude. Froggen is like an anomaly or like a weird enigma to me now because the Froggen that I knew when he was on CLG EU, like I agree with you, Mark. Like he's got to be one of the most talented people to ever play the game, especially from the West. And on the international stage, he has had incredible results when he was getting there. Like he plays really well on the big stage, but the Froggen I knew like would never settle for not having a roster that wasn't just like knocking down the door of being best in the region every year, and that clearly doesn't seem to be the point now. I don't know what Froggen's motivations are anymore, and like if everything is the same that it used to be. And I think that in order to be at the top of your game, you need to be like 100% in on what you're doing. And like he's just so naturally talented, he'll always be like in the top 4. But maybe like the Afro injection, if they get like a strong roster around him, would like kind of. And I'm not saying that Froggen is invigorated right now. It just doesn't strike me as like, I don't know, he's at where he could be.
Yeah. I think it's. I mean, you don't have to even fire shots at Froggen to make this claim, but like when he was on CLG EU and he was streaming, he had that like week-long period. I think it was even in North America where he played the game for like 60 straight hours in 3 days or something.
Yeah.
Like it was fucking insane. And like he's obviously a much more balanced person now, but the reality is that like when you put in that level of work while it has diminishing returns, you're still getting returns. And that's kind of the Korean mentality. And he had that mentality in the past, and it doesn't feel like it's there anymore.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for calling in. I really appreciate
problem.
talking to you, Jonas. Great question. Good talk.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. All right, so we got a couple questions. I don't think, are we done talking about team stuff? I think I know Mark switched to the other channel, is figuring stuff out, but we might maybe one more team question. We'll see. As it is getting kind of late and the show's been going for a while, but there's so much to talk about here on Hotline League. Just trying to see if we got any shout outs that I need to be making during the break while we wait for the next caller to show up. And
are we doing general questions now?
I think we might be moving on to general questions. I'm not sure. We'll ask Mark whenever he comes back.
The last thing I would say about team stuff is like I'm gonna be interested to see who's gonna take the first like real bet on a roster with franchising now that you like don't have to worry about relegations and try and develop, you know, some young talent, some unknown talent, maybe around veteran players.
Yeah.
I hope we get to see that. I would be interested to see that.
Yeah, it's just hard to get veteran players, I think, to.
Sorry if I made
For sure, you got to have people buy in.
Sorry, Mark.
Nothing. Sorry.
Yeah.
Do
we have another question about? Sorry, have we switched to general questions?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking we're moving to. So that's what he's about.
Yep. Okay. Sounds good. We're ready. Hello, One Sock. It sounds like you've got somebody in the background, but that's okay. What do you have?
You guys.
Oh, it's us. Okay, you meet us. Perfect. Where are you calling from?
Alabama.
Alabama.
Nice. Where in Alabama?
I don't know if I want to say. You know what I'm saying? I don't want too many people to know that I'm calling in. You know what I'm saying? There might be that one person that recognizes.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Somewhere in Alabama. Fair enough. And what do you want to talk about?
Okay, so basically, I kind of want to talk about how NA is not going to change that much, right, with franchising, okay? And so basically, long story short is I think that the top 4 teams, you know, the big 4, are going to win everything because teams still do not know how to build rosters. And it confuses me so much how teams can't figure out how to build a roster.
Well, who's the big 4?
TSM, C9, CLG, Liquid.
Okay, so if Liquid starts winning stuff, you're grouping them in there. That's a big change, right?
Well, right, from last year. But I think Liquid just kind of had some. I mean, I think they kind of just screwed up because they don't know how to. They didn't know how to build a roster.
Yeah.
Now they're just like flawlessly making. They're just buying everybody, so they can't fail.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my thing. Okay, so I think NA essentially with every team that they bring to international always has a glaring flaw, right? Like TSM had the worst early game in the tournament. C9 didn't make plays, and then Immortals had Cody Sun. And you can go through this and track it. And so I kind of feel like a bunch of new teams are going to come in, but they're going to do a horrible job building rosters, right? Like Echo Fox had Froggen and Looper. Pretty good. And Acadian. But then they have Keith and just fuck up the entire bot side of the map. Right? Like you can't you throw away your bot side of your map with Keith. And so
but you can't you can't blame them for the Keith thing. Like he had looked. Do you remember when Keith first debuted on Liquid?
He took off Piglet, who couldn't speak a word of English, and then all of a sudden, then Piglet starts picking his shit back up together. He tried to replace Wild Turtle, and then really couldn't even do that. And Turtle's kind of ass in lane, if we're being real.
Yeah. You're very critical of 80 carries. I mean,
dude, I love this guy, man.
Yeah.
I would rather everyone who comes on this show has strong opinions.
Yeah.
Well, like, look, no, okay, but here's the thing. Like, okay, so the reason why I don't think NA is going to change too much is I think the last guy who had on the MikeYoung was a pretty good point, right? Like, I don't think MikeYoung's going to change. How is a rookie going to handle, like, 3 dominant veteran lanes? He's going to get bossed around. He's not going to come in bringing his own idea. I was on the TSM team Lyra. Okay? C9's losing Impact, so when Impact was playing good, he's gonna be great. And then CLG, they won't get rid of Huhi, so it's just gonna be a thing. And so I'm just predicting that like NA is gonna do the exact same thing again. Probably TSM will win. Maybe Liquid can do it. And so that's just sort of my like general thoughts of like how I think NA is gonna be.
One suck. There's no way it could be the same because last year we saw tremendous performances from Immortals, and we will not be seeing. We will not be seeing that.
On the real, I was one of those. I for me, like I understand that you can't like. There's only so much NA talent, and I get that, right? Like I get that, like you can only have like I think Double Lift is by far top 3 like most valuable players just because he's an NA 80 carry, right? Like I think the only reason Poe Belter is like so great is just because you can put it in a spot beside his name. He's the only NA mid. But like other than that, you're not bringing Poe Belter. Like he could have shined in that group, and it was so bad. Like his group was so weak in mid lane at Worlds, and he didn't do anything.
Well, you can't. I don't think you can talk about NA at Worlds at all because our NA players all look like shit when you go to Worlds, right?
Okay, fine. But that's sort of my general kind of discussion. Is like, I feel like not a lot is going to change.
Yeah. So what do they need to do different? I want to know.
Yeah. Competition, or are we talking about just?
No, you're talking about building teams. You said that none of these orgs know how to build a team, and it frustrates you because they're dumb. So I want to know what you think people need.
Okay. Here's 2 sides of that. One, I think on content creation. Okay, I think orgs suck on that. I know I'm kind of going off, but like seriously, if you're not regularly on the front page of Reddit, like the fact that someone like Thorin and Travis, granted they've built up brands, on front page of Reddit more than some of these orgs bothers me.
What about it? Doesn't bother me.
What about
I agree that Travis being on the front page.
Me being on the front page, does that bother you at all?
No. Listen, it's not. Guys,
hey, what are you trying to say about content creators? One suck.
Listen. I get that you guys are making money, but like,
I'm not making money. I don't know.
Ad revenue, 70K videos. You know that might buy me a McDonald's.
Listen, you had me all the way up until you started talking about me and Mark. All right, like that's.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. But listen, okay, like in short, I think randomly, I keep going off topic, but like I think the problem with Europe is they are producing no content except for like Fnatic. Okay, I think a thing with NA orgs, they're all kind of like doing this wannabe TSM thing where they're like trying to say, "Oh yeah, we're super serious about winning," and I'm like, dude, why? You're not. Like, just have some sense of identity. So one, I think orgs should do that. Actually, sell me something.
So what do you think is bad about the content that they're doing right now, and what do you want to? So you're saying they don't have identity. What do you want to see them do differently with the content?
TSM is like the try-hard team, right? Like that's what Reggie sells to his team. He's like says, "We want to win worlds," right? That's an identity, right? Liquid, like they're kind of a meanie team. Like I don't know, like what is the like CLG had kind of that like, you know, Captain Planet, like friendship unite, we can conquer anything kind of feel to it. Like have faith, you know, like there was something. Like,
but I'm gonna have to cut you off. So much of this is contingent on like what your team's able to do successfully. Like the only reason people gave a fuck about CLG being the friendship team was that they were winning. Echo Fox hasn't made big roster moves. They're also the friendship team, and they suck. And people don't love them for that necessarily. They love Rick Fox.
But here's the I agree about that. I mean, I like Rick. Who doesn't like Rick Fox? But what I'm saying is that like you have no identity. Like seriously, like can you give me like could any of you guys sum up in a sentence like what is the identity of, let's say, Echo Fox, or what's the identity of like a team like, I don't know, who was a team in the league last year, or Envy or FlyQuest? I know they didn't make it, but like they offered you nothing.
Yeah. I think if you look at the way I think teams have been either they've decided to start doing this or Riot is pushing them in this direction, because if you look at the announcements that they came out with, like FlyQuest is trying to brand themselves as like a very player focused organization, and we're about the fans.
You need something for fans to actually buy into. You just need some identity. And TSM, right, like to their credit, right, no matter how ridiculous it is and no matter how many times they fail, it is fair that they have something that they can sell you. That's what they're trying. And then, second part, like as far as the competition goes, I mean, I don't think I offer anything super that, Reddit hasn't already offered. I mean, I just think that every NA org has had a red flag that people like, when you guys did your show, right? Like Marks and like Kelsey Moser and everybody were like, hey, C9 doesn't do anything for the first 15 minutes. And then like, look what happens to them, right? If you're like looking at TSM, they don't do anything. Like, I just feel like as far as competitively, like, I guess I just don't understand. And maybe Mark, since you've coached, you can kind of actually talk to me a little bit this. Like, why is it so hard to fix something that the obvious Reddit analyst can look at and see?
Well, because you're trying to break habits and mentality. Like, you don't like if I told you that you should learn rocket science, like just because you understand that I need to learn rocket science for my job doesn't mean you're going to pick up and learn rocket science.
That's
and
fair.
Second, just on the C9 point, they did change. They had one of the most active early games at Worlds. They
did
picked
great.
They picked So I don't.
They
did change it.
Either way, 1 second. I want to thank you for calling in. We have to move on to the next caller because we're no. It's good. It's good. I like a lot of your points and
it was great having you on.
It's good having you on. Thanks, man.
And EU does suck at content. That is for sure. Thank you, NA Farm System. We love you.
Who do we have next?
Anyways, before we move on, I have a bit of a bone to pick with that whole topic because we let him talk.
Okay, you go real quick, Mark.
You're in sports. Your identity is, for the most part, trying to win. Like, what? Envy built their roster to be competitive. It didn't work out. Like, they should have had an identity of memeing and not giving a fuck. Like, that's not an identity.
I think he just look, what I do, like, if you look at the new team announcements, I do think it's fair to say that it's good when teams say, like, this is what we stand for, right? Like, Clutch is saying we're about data and analytics, and that's what makes us good. Greenwall is like Optics thing. They're like all about like this massive fan push. I think that's fine. I think that's what he was getting at.
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing: when you tell me that Clutch City Gaming is all about data, how do you expect that to manifest itself to a fan's perspective? Do you think they're going to get out there and start pushing content where they're just talking numbers to you and explaining?
I'd love to talk to you for 10 minutes about this, but we don't have time. We got to get through these 4 people.
We're
already going over time.
Yeah, it's easy to sit back there and say you don't care about Dignitas because
Bring me someone, Mark.
Dignitas's identity is dead org. That's very clear now.
Yeah. All right.
I expected.
We got 4 more callers. They were already queued up. We're going to churn through these guys really quick, and then we're going to wrap the show. Thanks, everyone. This is an extended version of Hotline League. I can't believe I'm awake. I flew from Montreal at 4 a.m.
It's great for keeping you awake, Travis.
They're not a sponsor of my show. All right? Get that shit out of here. You know what's
what
great?
What did Kelby say?
He said,
did he roast me while I wasn't here?
No. He was talking about that. Hey, Degon, this is you called in. Where are you from? What's your deal?
I'm from currently in Santa Monica, California.
Nice.
And are you new to esports? Are you familiar with League of Legends?
Come on, man.
Yeah, I'm kind of familiar with the realm and stuff.
Degon from last season's broadcast. Welcome to the show. What do you got for us?
Hey, man. So something that I wanted to note, we talk a lot about the movement of Immortals, not too much on Olleh. So I went up on his Twitter. Olleh, as we know, one of the players that has traveled around a lot, Brazil, Korea, Hong Kong, now North America, has been brushing up on his Mandarin. Interestingly enough, there's a picture of him on there with Mandarin 2 to Mandarin 3. I do not know anything other than the fact that I saw that picture when we were talking about Immortals. It's like, hey, it seems like everyone's landing somewhere.
Wait, where is this? I'm on his...
It's on his Twitter page. Just take a look at it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he's holding up a Mandarin book. So
level
something
up.
there.
November
right?
17th, yeah.
That's recent too, right?
Exactly.
Huh.
So
I have a feeling like Olleh will not be leaving the NALCS.
I mean, I'm sure that's what Hong Kong thought as well.
Two things. One, Digon, you're kind of outshining us because your mic quality is fantastic.
Yeah, it is really good. I like your voice, man.
So right now you're kind of stealing the show a little bit too much, so settle down. And two, I think North America is getting to the point where like they can not really compete with Chinese money. Like you're not going to get any of their superstars, but people said, Song was going to go to China for Chinese money, and it sounds like he's going to TSM, and I think I saw the rumor said like 300K, which is not at all like crazy Chinese money. So I can see a world where Olleh doesn't have to go to China if he wants good money. Like I feel like a new team should pay this guy because he's proven. But who knows? That is a juicy picture.
Absolutely. Like all my interactions with Olleh, a hard worker, great teammate, even keeled, and even in that one-on-one with Dash that they played before the finals, he's willing to have those hard conversations with players to get better. So any team that could pick him up, I think that'd be great.
What is your mic setup?
Oh, it's so good.
It's the voiceover mic. I had some voiceover auditions today. I was too lazy to switch it over.
That is so good.
I'm gonna come to your house to shoot this from now on.
Yeah,
I'll bring my lamp.
I've got the Philips Hue here, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
there we go.
Right.
Okay. Thanks, Digon. It was good to hear from you, and thanks for having me on. We talk a little bit longer, but I think we gotta turn through some people really quick.
Yeah, I told everyone we're in rapid fire mode, so I'll just grab the next.
Okay. That was cool having Digon on. That mic quality though, that was something else. He used to do ASMR casts. Ron Swanson returning to the show. I remember you, Ron.
Sweet.
And where are you calling from again? Just for those that don't know.
South Carolina.
South Carolina. We got some calls from the South coming in.
Dirty South. We'll talk about some League of Legends.
Yeah. Ron, what do you want to talk about?
I just wanted to talk about Kelby's talking about earlier how NA teams should focus on winning NA and being popular instead of winning internationally. And I think from a competitive standpoint, that's just wrong.
Yeah. I think that it is a philosophical approach from a business perspective that you can take as an organization. But if people want to try and, obviously be competitive at Worlds, I'm not going to fault them for pursuing those ambitions. I just think that potentially from running your business and making it as successful as possible, ultimately what you care most about is eyeballs. That's twofold. I think that results help popularity a great deal, and then obviously personality helps popularity. In a market in which no NA team is having results at Worlds, from there I think that if you're at the top level and dominating like TSM is, your goal from there, we're rolling with the assumption here that a team cannot perform at Worlds, and yeah, you aren't pushing that boundary. Is that a good competitive mentality take? Obviously not. I think there's a business argument that can be made for it in regards to we are maxing out the potential of our region in regards to performance, and from there we are creating the best content, we have the best players, we are getting as much eyeballs to our brand so that we can attract better sponsors, sell more merchandise, get more viewership on the platform, and be the best product from a fan perspective that NA can offer. Although I will completely agree and, concede the point, is it a defeatist mentality from a competitive perspective to take that viewpoint and say, NA cannot do better at Worlds, so we'll just give up on it as one of the leading teams in the region? Absolutely. Sorry.
My final thoughts on this, just I think from Kelby's perspective, it's actually not that hard as a business. Like if you're one of the GMs and you hold this opinion, it's not that hard because the difference between trying to win North America and trying to win Worlds is such like a slim margin in a sense that like you can probably go for the latter without convincing anyone you're not going for Worlds, right?
Right.
And the only time that doesn't work, and I think it's a time here with TSM, is if the players want change. If Bjergsen has the competitive mindset and he says, I need change, I can't play with these players again, we're not winning, then you can't help but change, because Bjergsen's the most important person in the brand and he wants change. So it's one of those times where as a GM, you can probably hide your true feelings and say, yeah, we're all for winning worlds, but you're not really. But if your team is going to fall apart, you kind of have to do with what they want.
I think it's fascinating to hear Kelby talk about this, because you can see it his philosophy reflected in CLG. When he was there, they were the second most popular team in the league, and now they're definitely not. And at the time, they were also just a terrible team, and now they're definitely not. So
I mean, full transparency, like there were times during the CLG era in which Peter's personality, or sorry, Double's personality was at the point, and he was not at the maturity level yet where we potentially thought, and there were conversations around, like, is Peter the best person on the team as far as results? Because of the environment that he creates for the team. He's also obviously one of the best players in NA, but like, are we creating a situation that is at times, you know, like so toxic that like we can't, like we might have better results if we change? And from a business perspective, it was impossible to walk away from Doublelift. There was no way that the CLG brand could have survived in that era losing that player. Like, he was way too important to sponsors, to the popularity of the brand. Like, Peter was CLG at that era. TSM doesn't have that same issue now, right? Because Soren is their Peter, and even if they lose Soren, it's not something that TSM won't be fine with. But yeah, I mean I agree.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for calling out Kelby, Ron Swanson. Anybody else wants to call into the show and call out Kelby in future episodes that Kelby's on, super happy to do that. Thanks, man.
Yeah, I appreciate your thoughts, dude.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah. All right, so we got 2 more callers. Mark,
Travis, can you be a little less lazy and drag them an inch further on your screen?
I don't have permissions to add them in general. So if
but
you
have permission to add them to waiting rooms?
Yes. You are
this. It's on me.
Yeah, it's on you. Could you be a little less incompetent and give me the permissions I need?
Absolutely not. That's just how I am.
All right, we got Joker Can't Spell, esports veteran on the show. How's it going?
Hey guys, long time listener, first time caller.
Yeah, where are you calling from?
What's up, dude?
Hey. I am calling from the East Coast. I'm in New York right now.
Okay. Very cool.
So I've had a few things come across my desk, and I guess my question for you guys is, what is BAMTech going to have to do in order to succeed and make that money that they spent on content meaningful?
Yeah. So
first
off,
this is a great question.
This is like too good of a question to take it this hour.
All right. So do you guys want to hear like the insight that I've heard? Just like
yes.
Well, hang on. Let me, for those that don't know, because the vast majority of our audience isn't going to know, BAMTech, otherwise known as MLB Advanced Media, a year ago, people will remember I did a interview with the BAMTech and the heads of Riot Esports about this new deal where BAMTech was going to be doing the stream, and they were going to become an official broadcaster. They were going to build out like an app and all this stuff, and a mobile app, and there were discussions around like a subscription service. A year later, nothing has materialized, and we've heard rumors. I think, God, I'm sorry that I can't remember the esports media site that broke some stuff around it, but Joker Can't Spell.
I think it was Richard Lewis.
Yeah, possibly. Joker Can't Spell, veteran in the industry. What have you heard?
So I ran across a random guy who he is very close with somebody who works over there, and one of the situations that they ran into was that they hired like something like 100 engineers in the last 7 months, and I want Kelby to chip in on this, where it's like, you know, if you're building a tech product, hiring 100 engineers is not necessarily the best solution.
Yeah, but League is like the smallest thing that they're doing, right?
Yeah, right. No, and I mean, that kind of scared me. And then the other one is, it's kind of like, you know, I've seen like these content deals go around. Travis, you're familiar with how much money like media makes. Mark, I'm sure you are as well. Like, you can't, one, if it's not exclusive, you're not going to necessarily pull the audience. And two, if the only way you're monetizing it is through ads, like that's like BAMTech paid a ton of money for that.
Well, a couple things. So
like, fraction.
They said that they I can't remember how they worded it, because as always, Riot is coy, but they were basically saying they were looking at a subscription service, so like a premium service where maybe you get extra features and stuff unlocked, or you get access to a mobile app, that basically the experience for fans would not change as is, but that you would be able to spend money and get a more, like a better viewers experience from this. So that's one way that we're going to monetize it. And then also through, I think, I think are supposed to help bring in sales to like sponsors, not just like pre-roll and stuff, but sponsors and that kind of thing into the LCS broadcast.
I don't know. I feel like from my experiences and trying to compete with Twitch twice over.
Formerly Azubu, by the way.
Formerly MLG TV.
Yeah.
It's really hard to pull away audiences, and it's kind of the only way that I can see it is maybe making it exclusive.
So so they said they would not make it exclusive, but I think I disagree, and I say this knowing there's a Twitch employee on the show. I apologize, Kelly, but
I was going to say that I think that YouTube's done a pretty good job.
Yeah, YouTube with the LOL Esports broadcast has bled viewership from Twitch consistently since they came in.
But that's been like a 5-year battle for them. 6 years.
Yeah, they're at like 50% now.
But what happens if I'm watching on like the BAMTech official stream that I can earn Blue Essence in game or something like that, right? You can create a premium experience that will entice people away. I also think that Riot, maybe more than anybody else on a live streaming platform, has the ability to redirect traffic to wherever they want to.
It does have to come from the publisher, I agree.
Yeah, through the client, through lolesports.com. Watch.lolesports.com is where I'm sure where a lot of people watch, because they've got, even just having that simple little stat graphic on the side, I think is pretty good. So I have always been, I've had high hopes and a lot of faith in this BAMTech deal to be an interesting way for LCS to create revenue. But yes, the biggest question for me is, where is it like a year later?
Yeah. Do we think that, BAMTech has to have outs on this deal, right? At what point?
I can't believe that it's $300 million up front, right?
Yeah. How is that weighted? At what point does BAMTech look at this and be like, man, we've spent this much money so far. We have, and depending on the weighting, this much coming up. We have these outs potentially to activate. At what point are they like, we're making enough progress on this or not making enough progress on this where like it doesn't make sense for us to continue anymore? And I agree entirely with you guys that in order to make this thing impactful and successful for BAMTech and for Riot ultimately, you have to do probably like one of two things. You either have to, one, go exclusive, and that has multiple issues just because like,
you have to make it better.
Backlash. Yes, you have to find a way to serve ads that don't hit ad block and monetize sponsorship sales against that broadcast that nobody's done in order to like get anywhere near this, $50 million a year number. Or you have to not necessarily create a better product, but reward the viewer more. I think you have to bait them in like you do in like other esports titles where you provide incentives for watching. But that, of course, has a cost to the developer that probably goes into their equation for, essentially how much are we willing to pay for people watching the broadcast? And are we making back more than that from the BAMTech deal from their ability to monetize that audience? Yes. I don't necessarily know that that's very easy. Nobody's done it yet in the space.
Twitch chat right now is very insistent that we all know that BAMTech got purchased by Disney and that Disney now owns the majority of the company. I think we all know that in this, and it's worth mentioning, but it doesn't change like the financial realities here.
Yeah, I think it does change something, because it's like, okay, if you look at Riot, they're owned by Tencent, and I remember seeing something where Tencent and Disney were in conflict over something.
So, but those battles take place across, like, there are giant like battlefields between companies, and oftentimes companies will work together in one area and compete in the other. I'm not worried too much about that. I think the only thing it does change is Disney owns ESPN, so Disney might be willing to take a longer loss on this BAMTech deal, and Disney seems to be pushing more and more into esports. Like, not only do they have ESPN esports, but they've also been putting shit on their Polaris or whatever.
And they're pushing ESPN more into streaming as well.
Yeah. So I think that the Disney purchase probably does give the BAMTech deal a longer buffer, but I I don't know if I mean the question is still like they have to do something at some point in time. Also, how do you recoup this money? Also, like the problem is there's just so much detail. Like we don't, for all we know, Riot got paid, $10 million this year or something. On the other hand, Riot could have gotten nothing because nothing happened. So we just don't know.
I feel like they got. I feel like they had to have gotten paid.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
I think probably the path for success here, if it happens, and I'm not saying it's easiest, is they develop a product that is really good somehow. It's so hard to do, man, with some sort of integration through the platform, tracking, you're watching, rewarding you for watching, and also putting it on through the client so that you're counting the viewership from the people that are just logged in playing League of Legends. But anybody who's doing strict like analysis on the statistics there, is going to see what the viewer is actually worth, and you're just hoping that people who are buying that inventory aren't smart about it.
Yeah.
Either way,
I had two more, but I don't know. I feel like I don't want to take off time.
We probably need to wrap up. We're coming up on 1 a.m. here. So
thank you for the question though, dude.
Yeah.
That was really awesome.
Yeah. Thank you, Joker. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.
See you, Anton.
Yeah. Mark, you want to grab our last guy?
Yep.
Okay, Mike Spam, right here. Mike Spam, longtime supporter. Good to talk to you.
Very long time.
Yeah. Good to talk to you. Where are you calling from, Mike Spam?
Seattle.
Seattle.
Nice. My home city.
Yeah.
It's great. I love it.
So
you have good taste, dude.
You're gonna close out our show for us. What do you got for us, Mike Spam?
All right, All Stars and Rift Rivals suck. We just all need to admit that these two tournaments just need to either be merged into one or just disappear.
Oh, I don't think they should merge them into one. The problem is, I don't think that like Rift Rivals. I think some of us agree that it's not worth it. But from a viewership perspective and from a Riot perspective, I think they'll be like, oh, this is a great way. We're adding international competition, which everybody wants.
Let me tell you on All Stars Rift Rivals.
Okay.
Where we take the Rift Rivals format and the All Stars voting, and we make it so we have these regional clashes where people actually care about the regional clashes. Then we take that free week in the middle of the season, put an extra week of break between MSI and the start of summer, so our MSI teams actually have time to either prep or be rested, and everything's better.
So wait,
isn't
are you
this just the
moving
original
All-Star?
All-Stars concept?
Not really, because we're breaking it up again.
So
we have the NA versus EU All-Star that happened.
Oh,
and then we have the Korea-China LMS, wasn't it? All-Star that happens. Because what is All-Stars except my region's mid laner against Faker and fans voting for the players they didn't get to see together at Worlds?
Yeah, I think you're extending the League esports season even more at this point, which is pretty painful.
No, you're not, because you're cutting All-Stars.
Yeah, but think about it
like
this way.
The idea of like a team being together or something.
Yeah, like a double lift or someone is playing like let's say, like double lift is not going to All Star this year. He'd lose an extra week this year, or in your format.
No, only if he got voted into All Stars does he lose that week.
Okay.
Because already in the current summer split, we have a week where we just take off for Rift Rivals all of a sudden.
Well, but so you're saying you're merging these two. So who's going to represent the Rift Rivals portion? Because what people liked about Rift Rivals was that it was competitive between our top team versus Europe's top team, and we shit on them. And that's where a lot of the enjoyment came from.
I didn't see that sentiment around Rift Rivals time. Maybe
Really?
I just completely missed it.
I feel like it was there, and
yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
that was the only reason it was acceptable, was that that we played each other with real teams. If you made Rift Rivals some fun tournament and put it at the end of the year, I don't think anyone would enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone enjoys All Stars.
Well, All Stars is the worst.
Yeah, All Stars is the worst. I plan on doing a whole video just based on this weird dichotomy that they can't ever since the first one was good. After that, it just became like All Stars is not fun, or it's just fun, and then we don't reward anybody, and then it's like, oh, All Stars is super serious, but it's like fan voted, and there's no prize pool, and it's just like this weird.
I didn't mind
mess up.
it's fun, but we're doing the Team Fire and Team Ice.
Yeah,
thing.
Team Fire, Team Ice was the worst thing ever. The fact that lasted for so long is one of the.
I
greatest...
disagree because it gave fans something tangible.
No, it wasn't tangible. It was just like a bunch of bullshit. It's like, yeah, we randomly put these guys on Ice and this one's on Fire. There's all these points.
You got an IP boost, and you got a skin vote,
do you think
and you got a player vote.
Do you think people really cared about like the IP boost and like rallied around, like people like the All Stars is about regions. Like people were cheering more, I think, for NA than they were for Team Fire, Team Ice.
It gives people a reason to care about the event itself more than just I want NA to go do well.
Well, I think what I would say is it made the event more enjoyable for some fans in the sense like now there is a reason for me to vote for Team Fire, Team Ice, but it didn't make watching it any more enjoyable. Is I think the point Travis is making. We're like,
I would agree with that.
Yes, like I can see that like maybe
I didn't give a shit.
Well, you don't play the game.
I do play the game.
Why?
But
No, you don't. Why would you care about IP or Blue Essence when you don't care about the
because
game?
I just don't think that, like, for people that are playing, I don't think that IP and Blue Essence, like, people watch esports for the regions, and that's why they're cheering. They're not cheering in the hopes that they can get Blue Essence. I think
I agree for the most part, but I do think some fans probably enjoyed it more than just random shit. I don't think All Stars is good. I don't even know why we're having this discussion.
I mean, providing stuff in game does drive a lot of viewership for other esports titles. It depends what you're providing.
Yeah, but that's not like you could drive viewership that way, but it's not like people are going to cheer for. I don't know.
I mean, like the Faker and Bjergsen being on the same computer and playing was like a relatively, I don't know how to put this, like iconic moment in a sense.
Yeah.
For like East versus West, kind of like.
I don't mind the fun stuff, but I'm just saying Team Ice and Team Fire is bullshit.
What about this? This is another idea I've kicked around. Where we have All Stars right now, a giant 1v1 tournament.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's just a 1v1 tournament, and we say this is a one-off, weird, wacky event. All these players, I don't know what you do, fan vote for what players you want to see go compete. This giant 1v1 tournament. Because
you're losing me here, Mike's fan.
I fell asleep before you finished the idea.
Yeah, I think if this was a Dota concept, it would be a much better idea because Dota 1v1s are like skill competitions, but in League, I made it so far in the episode, guys, before bringing this up, so you should be really proud of me. But in League, yeah, it's boring.
We're losing Kelvin.
I've lost.
You don't want to see Caitlyn push a turret down 1v1?
Woo, yeah. Oh look, he hit a CS.
Oh, we lost Kelby. Audio cut out. I don't know what happened. That's right. Okay, so
did you actually mute him?
So let's Mike Spam. I want to thank you for coming on. It was good having
thanks
you.
for letting me rant about.
Yeah,
I
think
an idea that's vastly hated.
Yeah, I think we agree.
I take no offense.
Yeah.
You swing and you miss sometimes.
Right. Have a good one.
Thanks. You too.
Thanks, dude.
All right, so that's the show. We'll do some shout outs here. Mark, you got anything you want to plug?
Not a ton. I mean, it's kind of the for me a little bit of the doldrums. I'll be working on a bunch of random videos, so please follow my Twitter at @TheMarkZ. I'll be doing just a lot of like random stuff. I do stuff with Offline TV. I do my own League related stuff. I do non-League related stuff a little bit more now. So check out that stuff.
Yeah. Kelby?
I got nothing, dude. There's no point to shout out the chain smokers anymore. So what am I living for?
Yeah.
But thanks for having me on. This was super fun.
Yeah, it was super fun having you.
You're actually a great guest.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
Our first guest and our best so far. MNP subbed. I want to give a shout out to them. Thank you for that. And for everyone else, thanks for watching. I really, really like doing the show. It's great to be able to come back and do it again. It's been a bit since we've been able to do this. For me, myself, I don't have a job. You know, Mark, he's got that great thing going on over that Offline TV GG.
That's a stretch to call that a job.
Making Scott. I mean, we try to do a lot of things together, and you're like, I got to go work on Offline TV GG stuff. Whether you're getting paid or not, you've got a job. And let's be honest here, Mark is probably getting paid a shit ton because Scar has just got all that Acer money. So all I'm saying is help an independent media content creator out. TravisGafford.com/support. Use your Twitch Prime sub, whatever, all that stuff helps. Thanks a lot. And sub to my YouTube channel. We'll try to do these more often. Thanks to Mark. Thanks to Kelby. Thanks for all the people that called in. Another episode in the can.
Thanks, guys.